Chapter 17:18. The supernatural bird Lin Feng was busy in that time. He could do whatever he wanted while dreaming inside his spirit. At that moment, he was still in a vast city, absorbing the strength of the earth and sky. Suddenly, Lin Feng opened his pitch-black eyes as demonic-looking clouds were rolling in waves above him. Third fall. The sky assaulted Lin Feng's body with demonic energies. The demon energy struck Lin Feng's body, engulfing him in dazzling black lights. The demon's strength penetrated his body, making him feel like he had been struck by 1,000 needles. Pleasant, said Lin Feng happily. Demon energies condensed again, but Lin Feng didn't look that worried. During the past 6 months, Lin Feng had been cleansed thrice by demonic strength. Even though his small world was rudimentary, he could still sense energies accurately. He wanted to improve his demon cultivation, and seeing how he couldn't in the outside world, he did so in the small world. Lin Feng was now understanding why the small world which contained Ba Huang and Jiu Yu was so perfect. As a cultivator became stronger, his small worlds also became more stable. The third time, the demon energies didn't influence Lin Feng at all. Loud sounds were followed by even more demon energy bombarding Lin Feng's body. The indestructible Devamara scriptures emphasized indestructibility. After the 9th wave of energies descended from the sky, the clouds finally dispersed. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. He looked at a city he had made, Yangzhou City. Although they were identical, nobody was living there yet. Back in the outside world, at the top of the cyan-colored mountain, Qing Feng was looking at Lin Feng. He was motionless on the same gigantic rock as always. What was he doing? He had been sleeping like that for half a year already, and while he was asleep, he had angered the sky a few times. By now, Qing Feng had figured out that the sky would get angry at Lin Feng after he learned a new type of cosmic energy. Finally, Lin Feng opened his eyes and looked Qing Feng. He smiled and said, "Qing Feng." Then he jumped up next to her. "You slept for 4 months. You must really like to sleep," said Qing Feng. Lin Feng shrugged and smiled at her. "Did anything happen in the outside world while I was incapacitated?" he asked. "Chu Chun Chiu became a medium-level emperor," said Qing Feng. Lin Feng frowned, looking surprised. "That fast?" It took years to break through to the Huangqi layer, but to become a medium-level emperor, it should have taken even more time. Chu Chun Chiu's cultivation speed wasn't normal. Indeed, that fast. He defied the laws of our world. "Many people in the outside world are thinking the same thing as us," said Qing Feng, nodding. "What are we thinking?" Lin Feng asked. Chu Chun Chiu practiced the sky-absorbing holy scriptures a lot and figured that the Chu clan could give him a lot of determination to absorb, plus he had modified his technique with the celestial evolution holy scriptures. That's what most people think, but there are some who think that he is hiding a special body type, a very powerful one, Qing Feng explained slowly. Then she asked, "Lin Feng, which do you think is the most plausible?" "The reason isn't important. The important thing is that Chu Chun Chiu became a medium-level emperor in around a half year," mused Lin Feng. "Let's go," said Qing Feng. She had already broken through to the Huangqi layer a half year ago. "All right," Lin Feng nodded. Then he gazed into the distance. Half a year, what kind of cultivation speed was that? He had only been struck 3 times by the demon energies, and given that he had to be struck 9 times for his demon cultivation to improve, he still needed more time. They both smiled and left together. As they started leaving, 2 people approached them at full speed, forcing Lin Feng and Qing Feng to stop. Wu and Swan were there. Qing Feng frowned. Lin Feng looked indifferent as he asked, "What do you want?" "Let's fight again, same as last time, no treasures involved," said Wu coldly. After losing their previous battle, Wu had practiced cultivation every waking second, and had studied some new techniques. This time, he had to defeat Lin Feng. "Last time we agreed on something, but it seems like you've forgotten. If I fight against you again, and even if I win, won't there be a 3rd time, and a 4th time, and so on?" asked Lin Feng. "If you defeat me again, I'll never annoy you again, and I'll obey you. If you lose, piss off and leave the animal world. I never want you to come back," said Wu. His eyes were filled with the flames of battle. "A supernatural bird as a pet, that sounds nice," thought Lin Feng. I accept. Boom. A terrifying sun instantly exploded, shaking the sky. Swan suddenly jumped back, and Qin Feng moved far away too. Wu cawed and turned into a golden crow. Boom. Suddenly, a gigantic sun descended towards Lin Feng at full speed. Lin Feng's body started burning, the sun cosmic energy completely consuming him. However, Lin Feng remained motionless and looked calm as he bathed in the sun's fire. His physical body has become stronger, thought Wu. Fush. Immense wind energies suddenly blew, fanning the fire. Lin Feng sensed a terrifying bestial qi moving towards him as the sun fire turned into blades. Break! A terrifying demonic punch launched out, colliding against the sun blades. Bestial laceration. The golden crow suddenly appeared above Lin Feng and a million blades of fire descended. What a powerful technique, thought Lin Feng. His eyes became pitch black. Lin Feng was determined to make the bird submit to him this time. Culpa! Shouted Lin Feng suddenly. Suddenly, terrifying culpa energies emerged. He had learned about culpa strength in the demon scriptures, and with it, he found that he could use culpa energies to defy the heavens. Chapter 17-19. Becoming stronger, demonic calp strength. He must have studied some new skills, thought Wu. Sun energies continued to fill the sky. Lin Feng suddenly sensed a sharp pain. However, his eyes were still open and filled with the determination and cursing strength of the 9 netherworlds. His billions of threads of godly awareness now contained culpa strength. Lin Feng was especially dangerous right now because godly awareness could attack the opponent's determination, and if their determination was destroyed, then the cultivator was as good as dead. The supernatural bird released more sun energies. The flames around Lin Feng exploded and turned into terrifying suns. Does that guy want to battle to death? Swan thought. Wu was using his most powerful attacks against Lin Feng. Culpa's rule, said Lin Feng. Suddenly, terrifying demonic culpa strength emerged. The suns exploded, crushing some of Wu's determination. Immediately, Wu opened his mouth and a sun spear appeared. It shot out towards Lin Feng, emitting sonic booms as it flew. 9 culpa sword. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. 9 threads of culpa strength turned into a sword filled with wind cosmic energy. The sun spear exploded as it collided with the culpa sword. However, among the 9 threads of culpa strength, 3 remained and continued moving towards Wu. Be merciful, shouted Swan. At that moment, the culpa swords arrived in front of Wu, and blood splashed. Wu's soul shook. He had lost again. His chi was floating chaotically now that 3 swords, filled with explosive culpa energies, oppressed him and threatened his life. How about now? Asked Lin Feng, glaring at Wu. You won. I will keep my promise and submit to you, but if someday I become stronger than you, then my promise will be null, said Wu. Lin Feng smiled coldly down at him and said, I'm afraid that day will never come. Then, the swords disappeared, leaving remnant destructive strength floating in the air. Lin Feng sighed. The inherent knowledge he had about the supernatural sunbird told him that he was incredible. If he had been an ordinary emperor, he would have been killed instantly. He knew that among low-level emperors, there could be huge differences. 2 different low-level emperors could have 2 entirely different strengths. There was no subdivision to classify low-level emperors, otherwise, there would have been 369 sorts of low-level emperors. Since his body had been cleansed 3 times by culpa strength, Lin Feng still hadn't broken through to the Huang Qi layer, yet ordinary low-level emperors who had reached the top of their level couldn't compete with him. First, you'd need to break through to the Huang Qi layer, and even if you succeed, after that you have to continue leveling at the same pace. Anything less than this and I will quickly catch up, shouted Wu. I'll be waiting then, sneered Lin Feng, smiling indifferently. Then he walked away and said, Come with me for a walk. Wu looked at him in a cold way and turned into a human, before following Lin Feng. Even though he had agreed to obey Lin Feng, he was very unhappy. This had to be temporary or otherwise, he'd go insane. Because Chu Chunqiu had become a medium-level emperor, many people were going to the Chu clan to congratulate him and the clan. Actually, they just wanted to see how strong he had become. Even so, the Chu clan let everyone visit them and even treated them all as guests of honor. The visitors were typically young people, about the same age as Chu Chunqiu. Of course, many medium-level emperors also came to see how strong Chu Chunqiu was. In any case, there were visitors constantly touring the Chu clan and the beautiful sceneries. Lin Feng walked around and listened to people. He was also going to the Chu clan with Qing Feng and the others. He was wondering how strong Chu Chunqiu really was, but Chu Chunqiu was acting discreet. Few people knew how strong he really was. In one of the Chu clan's corridors, which lead to the main hall, there were tables loaded with alcohol, food and other goodies. World clan's people. The animal world's young people are interested in Brother Chu, said someone laughing. Chu Chunqiu stood up and smiled at them. Welcome, be my guest. No need to be polite. Lin Feng smiled and nodded back. Chu Chunqiu hadn't changed, he was still calm while looking enigmatic. How come Lin Feng is talking? Thought some people. The most outstanding young people from the animal clan were following Lin Feng, and yet he was talking for them. The crowd didn't understand. Wu is a golden crow, which means that he's very arrogant, obstinate, and unruly. But now he's following Lin Feng? How high in their hierarchy is he? In the past 6 months, he still hasn't become an emperor. But even if he had, he's still far from being as strong as Brother Chu. Someone laughed mockingly. The crowd looked at him. It was a man who had been drinking too much alcohol. However, Lin Feng hadn't broken through to the Huangqi layer, so why did he still have a high social status in the animal world? Heaven Clan. Swan looked at that person and remembered that the Heaven Clan's strong cultivator had kidnapped Lin Feng. Why does the Heaven Clan send such strong cultivators each time something's going on? Swan asked the one who had been drinking. After all, Lin Feng represented the Animal Clan, and the Heaven Clan was constantly humiliating him. You dare humiliate the Heaven Clan's masters? Said that person, inciting the group next to him. You all dare humiliate the Animal Clan. So if you are brave, send your strongest cultivator to fight against ours. You can even choose an opponent, said Swan. The middle-aged man from the Heaven Clan stood up, looking ice-cold. His name was Song Hai and he had already been an emperor for several years now, so his cultivation was very stable. He was currently a top low-level emperor. Chapter 1720, Brutal Killings. I really want to see how someone who has been abandoned by the gods can fight against an emperor, sneered that person. Song Hai wasn't happy, because he was in the generation before Song Shao. Because he had been an emperor for so long, his cultivation was now stable, but in the outside world, many people had already forgotten about him. The elders seemed to care more about the one who had a godly imprint king body, the one who had a world king body, Chu Chunqiu, the Prince of Sadness, and a few others. Even Lin Feng, who had been abandoned by the gods, had a better reputation than he did. Song Hai was finally seeing Lin Feng now. As expected, he had been abandoned by the gods and hadn't broken through to the Huangqi layer. However, he had heard that Lin Feng had already killed several emperors using the strength of the celestial evolution chessboard. He had even killed medium-level emperors. Swan and the others stepped away after they heard Song Hai. Swan couldn't wait to see how Lin Feng would do this time. After all, his battle against Wu had been amazing. Song Hai looked at Lin Feng in a disdainful way. Heaven cosmic energies instantly began oppressing Lin Feng as a gigantic hand descended from the sky. Lin Feng didn't move at all, though. Song Hai smiled coldly and said, "Your 7 cosmic energies are useless." Then even more strength oppressed Lin Feng, dragging him up into the sky. "Die!" shouted Song Hai when he saw that Lin Feng was still motionless. Just as the gigantic heavenly hand was just about to crush Lin Feng, however, a brown and black armor appeared instantly covered his body. As the hand hit him, the energies quickly dispersed, while Lin Feng's armor remained. 2 types of cosmic energies, demon and earth. He has some great defense, thought Song Hai, surprised. He condensed more strength before he shook his right hand again, and then another terrifying hand moved towards Lin Feng. Boom boom boom, terrifying sounds echoed as Lin Feng's armor broke apart. However, when the remaining energies assaulted Lin Feng's physical body, he was only pushed back a half step. He frowned, and his eyes became pitch black. He looked at Song Hai with his pitch-black eyes and smiled coldly. "You attacked first." Lin Feng then released terrifying wind energies and threw himself at Song Hai. Song Hai began sweating. Just what was Lin Feng made of? "Arg!" Song Hai shouted as terrifying demon energies oppressed him. Another gigantic heavenly hand moved towards Lin Feng, its fingers like mountain peaks. The demonic Kulpa energies descended from the sky, making the heavenly hand explode. Then Lin Feng released a terrifying strength to surround Song Hai. Even though he moved back as fast as he could, Lin Feng shook his hand, and Song Hai suddenly felt that a mountain had fallen onto him. At the same time, Lin Feng released Kulpa strength from his pitch-black eyes. Song Hai didn't dare move anymore, otherwise the Kulpa strength would crush his body. Boom! Another terrifying chi rose to the sky. Some of the people who had come with Song Hai suddenly stood up, one of them yelling at Lin Feng, "You already won, so let him go." "Won," said Lin Feng mockingly. "When he attacked me, he used his full strength, and he tried to kill me. This battle is a battle to death. I will win only after I kill him." Then, Lin Feng jumped forwards, and the Kulpa strength which had surrounded Song Hai exploded. "That guy is insane. He keeps killing people, even people from the Heaven clan," thought the crowd. "You actually killed him," shouted one of the cultivators from the Heaven clan furiously. Lin Feng slowly turned around and looked at the remaining members of the Heaven clan. The crowd frowned. What did he want to do? Did he want to kill more people from the Heaven clan? Lin Feng suddenly jumped forwards, making the strong cultivators from the Heaven clan shiver. The members of the Heaven clan moved, but Lin Feng released wind and empty space energies to move even faster. How could they compete with him in terms of speed? Lin Feng landed in front of one of them, condensed demonic Kulpa strength in his fist, and struck out. That person immediately exploded. "Die!" the others yelled, looking frantic. Terrifying energies surrounded Lin Feng as one of them immediately punched the air in Lin Feng's direction. "Earth strength," said Lin Feng grimly. That person had the feeling that a mountain had fallen onto him. He suddenly rose up in the air, or at least he tried. However, Lin Feng condensed two types of cosmic energies to make another set of armor. Even without the armor, that guy couldn't have crushed Lin Feng's physical body. He was too weak. The people of the Heaven clan are trash. "No wonder they only bully people who are weaker than them," shouted Swan mockingly. Lin Feng's punch struck another one of them, causing their head to immediately explode. One punch and another one dead. Two waves of energies rolled out and several more people exploded. Wu even helped, moving with incredible speed while releasing sun cosmic energies and killing more people from the Heaven clan. Very quickly, all the young emperors from the Heaven clan were dead. The crowd was astonished into complete silence. Chapter 1721. Chu Chunchio's strength. Song Hai brought about his own destruction, but now his friends are dying too. How sad, thought others in the crowd. Those who had seen Lin Feng fight before knew that from the moment Song Hai stood up, he was going to die. Song Hai had been practicing cultivation in isolation somewhere for a while, but he had no idea what was going on in the outside world. Even though Lin Feng couldn't break through to the Huang Qi layer, he could control 7 types of cosmic energies, and his physical body had already broken through to the Huang Qi layer. Even though Song Xiao didn't like Lin Feng, he didn't dare underestimate him. But Song Xiao was also a lot stronger than before. He had studied the indestructible Devamara scriptures, coupled with his celestial heaven skills. If Song Xiao and Lin Feng fought again, the battle would be terrifying. "Brother Lin, you're extraordinary. If someday you break through to the Huang Qi layer, then you'd become really terrifying," said Chu Chunchio with a smile. He didn't care about those people from the Heaven clan who had just died. Song Hai had agreed to fight against Lin Feng. Even though the Chu clan had some authority, they didn't want to involve themselves in such matters, either. Maybe the Heaven clan was angry at the Chu clan. "So what? You are even stronger than me, Brother Chu," replied Lin Feng politely. He had already broken through to the Huang Qi layer. It was just that people in the outside world couldn't see it. Maybe in the future, even if he became a medium-level emperor or even a high-level emperor, people would still believe that he was a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. "You're too modest, Brother Lin," said another young man from the Chu clan, smiling as if Lin Feng was their new friend. He continued, "Lang Yi and a celestial from Moon Palace left the capital already. I think they went to the Holy City. Apart from Brother Lang Yi, Dugu the winner has also left. Chun Chio's friends are leaving one after another. Because he was practicing cultivation, after becoming a medium-level emperor and leaving his room, he didn't get to see any of his friends or enemies. That's a bit sad." "Oh." Lin Feng was surprised. Lang Yi had surprisingly gone to the Holy City, but then he remembered that Lang Yi was traveling to gather experience, so it made sense that he couldn't stay in vast celestial ancient city forever. After all, the Holy City was one of the 3 most important cities in the central part of the region. "By the way, Brother Lin, back then, you and the Heaven Clan's strong cultivator traded the indestructible Devamara scriptures and the 9 Netherworlds demonic song, so now many disciples of the Heaven Clan have started studying demon skills. Song Shao has already been cleansed by a demonic kulpa twice. I'm curious to see how strong you've become in terms of demon cultivation. How many times have you been cleansed by kulpa energies?" asked the young man from the Chu clan, smiling in a friendly way. He didn't know how to study the indestructible Devamara scriptures, but he understood kulpa strength. Could Lin Feng use Devamara kulpa strength even though he couldn't break through to the Huangqi layer? "I couldn't get cleansed by the Devamara kulpa strength seeing how I haven't broken through to the Huangqi layer," said Lin Feng, smiling resplendently. Nobody in the outside world knew that he had studied Devamara kulpa strength in his spirit's world, nor had he shown anyone. "Brother Lin, you must be joking. Even though Tsang Shao is succeeding in terms of demon skills, you are still better than him. You've already killed some strong cultivators from the Heaven Clan," the young man from the Chu clan noted. "Your Excellency, you're underestimating the Heaven Clan," interrupted someone at that moment. Then someone came out. As they walked out, incredibly cold qi rolled in waves around them. Lin Feng had killed someone before, but that person had just enough time to break a talisman which was connected to his brother. The Heaven Clan knew that they were at the Chu clan, and surprisingly Lin Feng dared kill some of their people in the open. Tsang Shao was there too. His eyes were pitch black, and he looked incredibly upset. He wanted nothing more than to kill Lin Feng right now. "Lin Feng, you dared kill some people from the Heaven Clan? Very good," exclaimed a medium-level emperor coldly. Then he looked at Chu Chunqiu and the young man who had just talked and said, "Some members of my clan came here as guests and were killed while you, the Chu clan, did nothing. And then you continued talking normally as if nothing happened? Brothers, I'm sorry. However, they provoked Lin Feng, and when they attacked Lin Feng, we didn't intervene at all. Their deaths were just between them and the Animal Clan. The Chu clan is the host, but we don't want to get involved in such issues. Otherwise, when the members of the Heaven Clan attacked Lin Feng, I should have intervened too, right? Then you wouldn't have been happy either, and you would have said that I was protecting Lin Feng. Concerning your second accusation, I have the right to express myself freely," said the younger man of the Chu clan calmly. "Your opinion? Chu Chunqiu has become a medium-level emperor, and even though he was extremely fast, how can the Chu clan act so arrogantly? Chu Chunqiu has become a medium-level emperor, so what? He still has to become stronger before he can strut around like that," said the strong cultivator of the Heaven Clan. Chu Chunqiu remained looking calm. He looked at that person and said, "Anyone who comes here are guests, come and have a few drinks. Concerning my cultivation level, I know I'm still weak, but I don't need the criticism. Chu Chunqiu, even though you're discreet, you're arrogant, and now that you're a medium-level emperor, it's even worse," spat that medium-level emperor, rising into the air. "Now that you're a medium-level emperor, I challenge you, so that we can both exchange our views on cultivation." Chu Chunqiu still looked calm. He had a few sips of his drink, then slowly rose into the air, his purple robe fluttering against the wind. He looked at the strong cultivator of the Heaven Clan and said indifferently, "Are you sure you want to fight?" "Do you think I'm joking?" asked the strong cultivator of the Heaven Clan. Chu Chunqiu nodded. He was still looking at his opponent when he suddenly released terrifying lights through his eyes. These lights were filled with ferocious determination which rose to the sky and straight at the other guy's head. Destructive, murderous, brutal, deadly, the terrifying determination roared furiously. Suddenly, it all struck the Heaven Clan's cultivator's head. Then Chu Chunchyo suddenly jumped and released even more terrifying determination, making the cultivator from the Heaven Clan go insane as he lost his own will. Die! Chu Chunchyo shouted. His opponent's determination had already been destroyed, so he no longer had any will to fight. The punch that Chu Chunchyo launched struck the medium-level emperor, and his soul exploded. Chu Chunchyo hadn't swallowed his enemy's determination, he had just killed him. Determination, what a terrifying determination, thought the crowd. It was their first time seeing Chu Chunchyo being so brutal. Lin Feng and his friends were also surprised. The sky-absorbing holy scriptures can absorb even emperor's determination. Chu Chunchyo must have absorbed countless strong cultivators' determinations to reach that level, thought the crowd. The Heaven Clan looked glum. They had challenged him, and now they had lost another cultivator. Chapter 1722, Powerful Physical Body. Chu Chunchyo looked indifferent. Does anyone else want to fight against me? I don't mind. All the members from the Heaven Clan dropped their eyes. A medium-level emperor's determination had been destroyed in the blink of an eye. At the same level, almost nobody could compete with such a strong cultivator. According to legends, only people who have special powers can study the sky-absorbing holy scriptures, otherwise, their determination can break apart and they would go insane. Chu Chunchyo must have a special body type seeing how he's learned such spells, thought the crowd. Lin Feng, come here, shouted Song Xiao aggressively. He was releasing Culpa strength. Lin Feng raised his head and smiled chillingly. Chu Chunchyo had humiliated those people, so now they needed an outlet. Song Xiao rose higher in the sky and said, "Who wants to fight? Come." Song Xiao jumped forwards and released heaven strength, targeting Lin Feng. At the same time, he released demonic Culpa strength which turned into an ice-cold pitch-black beam of light. I told you, I'm definitely going to kill you, swore Tong Xiao. A heavenly hand descended from the sky and fused together with the pitch-black Culpa strength. Two types of ancient scriptures together in one attack, thought Lin Feng. That was a demonic Culpa heavenly hand. Lin Feng smiled coldly and jumped, releasing a demonic punch. The air exploded as they collided, creating gusts of wind which billowed outwards. Lin Feng released wind and empty space cosmic energies to move, and at the same time, a demonic earthen armor appeared on his body. Song Xiao looked at Lin Feng's Culpa strength coldly, then released cosmic energies as he performed hand seals. Heavenly strength concentrated as he performed each seal. Lin Feng was pushed forwards as another gigantic hand descended from the sky. Song Xiao's Culpa energies didn't contain demon cosmic energy, which meant that he probably couldn't study demon energies like Lin Feng. Fush. Lin Feng moved even faster, creating sonic booms as he ran. However, the enemy's hand caught up and exploded on Lin Feng. Even though Lin Feng's armor was destroyed, he wasn't injured. A few more hands were catching up to Lin Feng. The crowd sighed. Even a medium-level emperor wouldn't be able to stand such an attack. Lin Feng was going to die now. His physical body is even stronger than mine and Wu's, thought Swan. He was also a legendary beast, so he knew a lot about the durability of one's body. Lin Feng had blocked Song Xiao's attack with just his physical body, which meant that Lin Feng was stronger than him. Most low-level emperors couldn't injure him anymore. Song Xiao's cosmic energies must be around level 3 in the low Huang Qi layer, and with his celestial heaven punch and demonic Culpa strength, his cosmic energies are closer to level 7. Lin Feng's dual cosmic energy armor was destroyed easily by Song Xiao's attacks, so Song Xiao's cosmic energies must be more powerful than Lin Feng's. Lin Feng must have around level 4 cosmic energies, but his body is incredible, so he can endure level 6 or 7 cosmic energies, reasoned one of the strong cultivators from the Chu clan. Cultivation emperors were divided into low-level, medium-level, and high-level emperors. There were gigantic differences between those levels, But the difference between low-level emperors themselves wasn't that large. Low-level emperor's cosmic strength was divided into 9 levels, and Song Zhao's cosmic energies were only level 3, while Lin Feng's physical body could resist against level 6 or 7 cosmic energies. If Song Zhao didn't have such powerful skills, Lin Feng could have killed him easily. Lin Feng had such a powerful physical body because his body had been cleansed by the demonic Kulpa energies. If Lin Feng had only been cleansed by Kulpa strength 3 times, then he would have been able to resist against level 3 or 4 cosmic energies at best, but he also knew another kind of Kulpa strength, the one the gods used when he infuriated them. In addition, since he had been cleansed 9 times by the Kulpa strength from the indestructible Devamara scriptures, he had the strength of a medium-level emperor in terms of cosmic energies. Song Zhao looked at Lin Feng with a face filled with mixed emotions. He hadn't thought that Lin Feng would become so terrifying after only 6 months. Lin Feng's Devamara Kulpa attacks were far better than his own and could make demon cosmic energy fuse together with them, something he couldn't manage. In desperation, his spirit appeared. It was a gigantic mountain with 5 fingers, each finger exuding black lights which rose to the sky. At the same time, dozens of hands descended from the sky towards Lin Feng, each containing terrifying heaven cosmic energies. "Die!" shouted Lin Feng. Death strength flooded the sky, instantly draining Song Zhao's life. At the same time, Lin Feng shook his hand and a punch launched out. This punch was a pitch-black and ice-cold hand which contained terrifying demonic Kulpa strength. The celestial heavenly hand and the demonic Kulpa rule attacks clashed, creating explosions and gales. Song Zhao's face turned pitifully pale as an armor suddenly appeared over his body. This armor was called the Heavenly King Armor. Lin Feng punched the air towards Song Zhao's head, determined to end this. "He wants to kill Song Zhao," thought the crowd, frowning. Lin Feng was insane, he wanted to kill everyone. Boom! A terrifying energy exploded. The other members from the Heaven Clan released cosmic energies at Lin Feng to stop him. Song Zhao's Heavenly King armor changed. Song Zhao had modified it so that it now covered his head. Lin Feng was surprised, but he didn't hesitate and still decided to punch it. The destructive hand crashed onto the Heavenly King armor, but his energies bounced off the armor. Lin Feng couldn't break it. A celestial heavenly hand finally caught up with Lin Feng, so he broke a talisman. Suddenly, he disappeared and reappeared above the Heaven Clan's crowd. Then his silhouette flickered as he took out a shield. Although it resembled a shield, it wasn't a real shield, it was the Celestial Evolution chessboard. Chapter 1723, Kidnapping Celestial Evolution Chessboard. The members of the Heaven Clan immediately identified it. Lin Feng had killed so many people using the Celestial Evolution chessboard back at Ice Moon Lake, including medium-level emperors. Now that he had taken it out again, they knew they couldn't kill Lin Feng so easily. Dazzling lights suddenly appeared as the members of the Heaven Clan took out more imperial weapons, but they didn't have any comparable to the Heavenly King armor. The strongest among them were medium-level emperors. "A contest of weapons?" asked Lin Feng, smiling in an ice-cold way. A sun dazzled in Lin Feng's right hand, a sun disk floated there. It was the sun disk he had stolen from Yang Yan. "Let's see how you intend to kill me," Lin Feng said. As he said that, he released sun cosmic energy into the sun disk. It became dazzling and transformed the sun energies into destructive energies. Fush! Lin Feng disappeared with the wind, as fast as lightning. A strong cultivator from the Heaven Clan sensed the sun disk's energies surround him, provoking a sudden desperation. He wanted to escape, but he was blinded by the sun disk. Then, the sun turned into a shooting star which struck his body, lighting him on fire. After that, the sun disk disappeared. A few hands moved towards Lin Feng as soon as the fire lit, but Lin Feng shook his hand and the Celestial Evolution chessboard enlarged. All the attacks broke apart, and at the same time, Lin Feng punched the air from behind the Celestial Evolution chessboard, killing another opponent. Lin Feng broke another talisman and disappeared. The sun disk remained though, moving towards another person's head, igniting them on fire as well. After using the talisman, Lin Feng used his godly awareness to control the celestial evolution chessboard. At that moment, the celestial evolution chessboard was spitting out illusion chi. "Run," said Song Shao as he started running away, the members of the Heaven clan all following behind him. "Wu!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. Wu groaned coldly, but he still transformed into a bird, moving towards Lin Feng. Then, Lin Feng jumped onto his back and chased the members of the Heaven clan. Fush! Some wind cosmic energies appeared under Lin Feng's feet and surrounded Wu, letting him fly faster. The sun disk continued slaughtering them. A low-level emperor gave a horrible shriek as he was snagged by the disk, quickly dying afterwards. At the same time, Wu also bit one with his beak, and that person died from fire energies as well. The golden crow was extremely fast, and coupled with Lin Feng's wind cosmic energy, they were catching up. Even medium-level emperors couldn't be as fast as the two working together. "Stop him!" shouted Song Shao furiously. He took out an imperial weapon, which resembled a pair of wings, and accelerated. At the same time, he broke a jade talisman with a look of desperation. "Lin Feng, I didn't try to kill you, so why do you have so much animosity?" shouted Song Shao. Even though Song Shao ordered them to stay back, two medium-level emperors continued running ahead. Who would help Song Shao when it meant suicide? Cultivators thought about their own lives first, or at least most cultivators thought that way. "You will die one way or another," shouted Song Shao furiously. They separated into two groups and escaped in opposite directions. Lin Feng continued chasing Song Shao though. He knew could catch up with Shao, even if he had the wings. "Song Shao, you are constantly saying that you want to kill me, so why are you escaping now? Don't you feel shameless?" Lin Feng shouted. "You must stop now, then you and I will have a fight without imperial weapons," said Lin Feng extremely loudly. "Battle?" Song Shao frowned and shook his head. Lin Feng could catch up with him if he continued using talismans. "Earth!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. He shook his hand, and suddenly a terrifying strength oppressed Song Shao, almost paralyzing him. At the same time, Lin Feng took out the sun disk and threw it at him. The sun struck Song Xiao's wings, and they exploded. Song Shao was next to the explosion, but he hadn't been injured because his Heavenly King armor was still protecting him. Then Lin Feng continued running, causing the sky to tremble with each step. Song Shao didn't continue running, instead he's slowly turning around. "Let's see how you intend to kill me," swore Song Shao. He had the Heavenly King armor, so there was no way Lin Feng could kill him. "Wu, Qing Feng, Swan, go back to the animal world," said Lin Feng to Wu and the others. They were three geniuses from the Animal Clan and the Heaven Clan had nothing to do with them. By making them leave, Lin Feng planned to bear the responsibility for killing all the Heaven Clan's cultivators. Wu's eyes flashed as he thought. He wouldn't have thought that Lin Feng would make him leave, just what was that guy planning? "All right," agreed Wu and left with the others. Lin Feng jumped forwards as Song Shao groaned coldly, making his Heavenly King armor become larger. Then he punched the air in Lin Feng's direction. However, a palace suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's hand which moved towards Song Shao's punch. The sky shook again, but Song Zhao's defense was terrifying, even the Jade Emperor's palace couldn't injure him. "Dodge!" some people shouted as they ran sideways. The Jade Emperor's palace was falling towards them, forcing some of them avoid it. Many people from the Chu clan also came out to see the battle, but after the palace struck the ground, the atmosphere calmed down. Things were so quiet that a pin needle could be heard if it fell. If Lin Feng and Song Shao were still battling, then things shouldn't be that calm, right? Song Ling was still running when he sensed that and suddenly stopped. "What's going on?" asked Song Ling. He had a jade talisman in his hand, the one Song Shao had called out with. "Is he dead?" He took out another jade talisman. This time, it was Song Zhao's soul monitor, but it wasn't broken. That meant Song Shao was still alive, but why wasn't it moving? As if time had stopped? Song Ling just stopped for a millisecond before he continued flying towards Song Zhao's location. Once he arrived, he found a gigantic palace laying on the ground. "Where's Song Shao?" Song Ling shouted. "Master, Lin Feng and Song Shao had a big battle, Lin Feng bombarded Song Xiao with that palace, then the battle stopped, someone replied. Song Ling looked upset. He punched the castle, and after some trembling, the palace broke apart. Chapter 1724. Determination. As the palace broke apart suddenly, a group of people appeared. Tian level? Zun level? Those people were mostly Tian level and Zun level cultivators, some were even at the Xian Qi layer. They looked so weak and pitiful, especially given that they were in vast celestial ancient city. When the crowd inside saw that the palace was broken, some of them looked extremely happy, while some others looked insane. Surprisingly, they could finally see the sun again. How many years had it been since they had last seen the sun? But those who were happy suddenly realized what was going on, and their happiness was replaced with fear. What is this place? How strong are those cultivators? Where's Lin Feng? Asked Song Ling. Lin Feng and Song Xiao didn't seem to be in that palace. As expected, Lin Feng thought the crowd which had been trapped in the palace. It had been so many years, the crowd was wondering how strong Lin Feng had become. Master, we know nothing. Who is Lin Feng to you? Asked Song Ling, releasing energies to oppress them. Lin Feng imprisoned us in the palace, so we haven't been in the outside world for a very long time. We don't even know where we are, answered one of them. Considering his reaction, he was one of Lin Feng's enemies. Song Ling believed him. Those people must have been imprisoned given how weak and pitiful they were. Where are you from? And do you know where Lin Feng is? Song Ling asked. I come from Ganyu, and Lin Feng is a disciple of Tian Zich, replied that person. Song Ling was speechless. Ganyu? Tianqi? He couldn't have heard of those places. When those people sensed Song Ling's energies, their facial expressions changed. They looked at him respectfully and said, Where are we, master? Vast celestial ancient city, replied Song Ling grimly. He just wanted to find Lin Feng and Song Xiao, not answer their questions. Vast celestial ancient city? The crowd from the palace had never heard of that place before. They had only heard about Ba Huang and Jiu Yu, and the holy city. Those people didn't know that they were in the great world. They didn't even know that they came from a small world. They didn't know anything, really. Vast celestial ancient city is one of the 18 main cities of the Dark Knight region, but where's Tianqi? Asked Song Ling. Dark Knight. Main cities? The crowd was speechless. They didn't understand. Please forgive me, but may I ask you what your cultivation level is? Asked the crowd. Celestial Emperor, said Song Ling. He couldn't imagine who those people were, just how many countries had Lin Feng visited. Surprisingly, he had brought so many people from remote places. Great Emperor, Celestial Emperor. The crowd was astonished. They only knew that cultivators stronger than the Zun Qi layer were like gods. To them, great emperors were legendary cultivators from the antiquity who didn't exist anymore, but what about celestial emperors? They couldn't understand. What was a celestial emperor? Master, are you a legendary cultivator whose strength is superior to a cultivation emperor's? Asked someone weakly. Finally, Song Xiao looked furious, making that person immediately fall onto their knees. That bastard Lin Feng. Surprisingly, he's carrying people from the small world around. Song Ling started inspecting the surroundings with his godly awareness. However, finding a person was easier said than done, especially if Lin Feng had already changed his face. After Song Ling left, the crowd remained with more questions than they knew what to do with. People from a small world? After a short time, the people from the Jade Emperor's palace started thinking, were there worlds outside of their world? Lin Feng had left and abandoned the Jade Emperor's palace. After all, it wasn't that important anymore now that Lin Feng already had a small world in his spirit. Lin Feng didn't care about those people either. Whatever happened to them wasn't his problem. At that moment, Lin Feng was seated cross-legged in a hotel room. His eyes were closed as he was inside his spirit. Lin Feng and Song Xiao were in the duplicate Yangzhou city Lin Feng had created. Song Xiao didn't move, nobody attacked him, he was just facing Lin Feng. Lin Feng was smiling mockingly, standing there without worry. Where are we? Asked Song Xiao, glancing around and frowning. Small world, your small world. Song Xiao managed to process it. Indeed. It's my small world. Your armor is too thick, but even if I can't kill you, I can still imprison you until I can, said Lin Feng, smiling in a chilling manner. Song Xiao smiled as if he found all that ridiculous. You're smiling, said Lin Feng. Maybe you think that some people will come and save you. But I'll tell you something here, nobody can find you. Even if you manage to leave my small world with your godly awareness, your qi is restrained in here. Empty words, said Song Xiao. Do you think you can control everything in your small world? Empty words. Lin Feng said, smiling in a cold way. Here, Devamara Kalpa's strength can oppress anything. Impossible, said Song Xiao. He couldn't believe it. Nobody's small world could be that powerful. How could there be celestial Kalpa's strength ruling that small world? Impossible? Just look, said Lin Feng, smiling coldly. Fire cosmic energies appeared and surrounded Song Xiao's body. Earth cosmic energies also started surrounding him, then thunder cosmic energies descended from the sky. All those cosmic energies were bombarding his heavenly king armor. No, impossible, cosmic energies, how can you use these cosmic energies? Song Xiao was confused. Lin Feng was using normal cosmic energies, as if he had been cleansed. Do you understand now? Asked Lin Feng. Song Xiao was terrified and startled. Lin Feng had broken through to the Huang Qi layer? Lin Feng was supposed to be a cultivator of the Zun Qi layer, but he was an emperor here? Maybe Lin Feng had studied a skill to hide his real cultivation level, but then how could great emperors not know that he was an emperor? Abandoned by the gods? Ridiculous. I broke through to the Huang Qi layer a while ago. It's just that the outside world doesn't accept me. I'm the master of my own life though, not the gods, so I am still alive and I still practice cultivation here to become stronger, said Lin Feng, smiling sunnily. Song Xiao was dumbfounded. He looked at Lin Feng and said, You're the one who angered the sky, Lin Feng. Of course it was me. Restriction body. Song Xiao was astonished. He had always despised Lin Feng, but surprisingly, the one who had angered the gods was Lin Feng. Song Xiao, you're ridiculous and you're too arrogant. How could you even compare yourself with me? I can kill you with just one finger, Lin Feng said aggressively. Lin Feng slowly walked towards him. His eyes were pitch black, unfathomable, enigmatic. Song Xiao, look at me. How could you even think of fighting against me? Said Lin Feng. His voice carried demon-cursing strength. Song Xiao felt like he was losing control as he looked into Lin Feng's eyes. The source of the 9 netherworlds was starting to overtake him. Chapter 1725. About to leave, Song Xiao wasn't aware that he was slowly turning into a demon. Song Xiao didn't even realize that Lin Feng was walking towards him. Die! Suddenly, determination rose to the sky, and Song Xiao's brain felt like it was going to explode. At the same time, Lin Feng punched the air in Song Xiao's direction countless times. His Devamara Kalpa strength was brutal and contained both fire and thunder energies. Song Xiao gave a horrible shriek as he was struck. He was going to die. Song Xiao was going to be killed by Lin Feng. His godly awareness and determination were falling apart. Blood was already spilling out of Song Xiao's eyes. His body slowly collapsed. Even though he was still wearing the heavenly king armor, Lin Feng made it moot with his demonic willpower attack. Song Ling was still looking for Song Xiao outside a vast celestial ancient city. However, at that moment, the talisman which contained Song Xiao's soul broke. Song Xiao was dead? He was petrified. How? Song Xiao had the heavenly king armor. Lin Feng couldn't possibly break it, so how did he kill Song Xiao? Since Lin Feng had dared kill Song Xiao, it marked his final time in vast celestial ancient city. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was no longer a mystery, so a lot of the other cultivators at Lin Feng's level had already left. Lin Feng was from a small world, so he couldn't wait to see the holy city. Besides, Junimo she was in the holy city, and Lang Yi and the others had gone there too. Lin Feng didn't have any thoughts about Empress Shi and Yuexin because he was still too weak. One day he'd come back and settle his accounts. The 8 vast exits of the city were not guarded, so anyone could go through as they wished, unlike those of the 9 great celestial castles. After a few months of searching, there was still no news from Lin Feng. The Heaven clan kept spying on the Animal clan, but Lin Feng didn't show up there either. The Heaven clan slowly started to accept that Lin Feng had probably left vast celestial ancient city. "Who's that?" asked someone who was far from vast celestial ancient city. Someone was seated with their eyes closed, and even though he knew someone was there, he still hadn't opened his eyes. "Master Duanmu, it's me, Lin Feng." Duanmu opened his eyes after he heard Lin Feng. He looked surprised. "I was wondering who could be so audacious. The Heaven clan is not done looking for you, but you still came out. Vast celestial ancient city is gigantic, they can't find me, no matter how hard they try," said Lin Feng with a smile. "Your fake face is incredible though, it's really well made." "Even I can't recognize you," said Duanmu. Lin Feng could also hide his chi, so nobody would realize it was him. No wonder the Heaven clan hadn't found him, it was as if he didn't exist. "By the way, Lin Feng, do you want to leave the city? You want to go back to the Goldfire City, perhaps?" asked Duanmu. "I came concerning that matter indeed," said Lin Feng, nodding his head. He walked into the courtyard and said, "Master, I want to go to the Holy City, but I need a good map and a weapon to improve my agility. Could you please help me?" "You came to the right person, little boy," said Duanmu the Celestial Emperor, smiling. Lin Feng shrugged. Duanmu was a celestial emperor, so he probably had millions of maps stored in his godly awareness. Concerning the weapon, Duanmu was a weapon craftsman, so who else could know weapons better than him? Duanmu gave him something for traveling. "Of course, I can also exchange it with the Sun Disk and the Thunder Hammer," Lin Feng said with a smile, but Duanmu shook his head. "I'm happy to give this to you. Besides, making you stronger and being your friend is more important to me than two great imperial weapons." "You're too kind, master. Many people are angry at me in vast celestial ancient city." "I'm sure that you'll become a monster in the future," shrugged Duanmu. Besides, for Duanmu, helping Lin Feng didn't require much effort. A small map and weaponry he didn't use anymore didn't count as much. "Master, thank you very much for your kindness." Lin Feng bowed before the Celestial Emperor. "Alright, take the map," said Duanmu. Then, he opened his third eye and his godly awareness penetrated Lin Feng's brain. At the same time, his eyes twinkled, and an ancient boat appeared in his hand, as small as a hand. "I've never imprinted it, so you'll have an easy time connecting to it. With your strength, you won't have any problems using it either," explained Duanmu. "Thank you very much, master," Lin Feng replied eagerly, before taking the boat. He couldn't waste too much time traveling to the Holy City. And even after the Holy City, the boat would still have its uses in traveling to different places. "By the way, if you go back to Goldfire Tower, can you help me take care of Mu Linshui? She's my good friend and she's fascinated about cultivation. If you refuse, I won't hold it over you," said Lin Feng. Duanmu nodded. "If I go back to the Goldfire Tower, I will. Concerning you, Lin Feng, if you go to the Holy City, the best thing for you is to go to a university. The school will protect you. Once you're in the Holy City, the situation can be dangerous sometimes. But if you are a student, people won't attack you so easily." "Universities are that prestigious?" thought Lin Feng, surprised. "I'll remember that, master," replied Lin Feng. He had faith in his own abilities, but he didn't have a powerful background in the region. "Go. Leave vast celestial ancient city as soon as possible, otherwise new problems could crop up unexpectedly." "Take care," said Duanmu. "I can't wait to see you become a great emperor. Then we'll be able to talk about so many things together." "I'm afraid such an ordinary person as me wouldn't be able to do that. Anyways, I'm off," said Lin Feng, bowing one last time before leaving. He had already used his talisman to talk to Qing Feng. Qing Feng, Wu, and Swan would be going to the Holy City too, and they would meet there. Chapter 1726. Turning into an ancient tree, Lin Feng was seated in his new boat, flying above the clouds with incredible speed. Sometimes, some people passed near him, but they didn't talk to each other. Even though the boat was terrifyingly fast, Lin Feng would still need a while before reaching the Holy City. Therefore, he wasn't in a rush. He enjoyed the landscapes of the great world, relaxing a bit. A few days later, Lin Feng descended from the sky towards a large city. Even though it wasn't as big as vast celestial ancient city, it was a lot larger than Goldfire City. Lin Feng stayed there for a day and then continued traveling. The continent of the 9 clouds was gigantic, but how big was it really? And how many people were there in the world? Regardless of modern ancient clans or ancient holy clans, in antiquity, clans had been created because of a peerless cultivator. The ancient holy clans had been created by very strong cultivators. Therefore, cultivators admired strong people and wanted to become stronger, and with time more and more strong cultivators emerged in the world. Millions of years ago, strong cultivators had started creating the world as people knew it now. Lin Feng didn't fly at full speed, but he didn't have too many breaks along the road either. Lin Feng was standing in a field. He glanced around. There was grass everywhere. It was filled with vitality. Life. Lin Feng looked calm, serene, and relaxed. Life strength. Life is the opposite of death. People, animals, grass, the 10,000 things of creation, everything is made of life, whispered Lin Feng. Around him, the grass started rolling in waves as a terrifying wind rose. Gigantic clouds appeared in the sky. However, those clouds looked strange as they were filled with destructive energy, life kulpa strength. How could life cosmic energy turn into life kulpa? Thought Lin Feng, looking at the cloud in the sky. Apart from life energy, all other energies could turn into kulpa, but life energy wasn't supposed to be destructive. So what was wrong with this cloud containing kulpa strength? The life kulpa cloud roiled in waves. Lin Feng wondered if the kulpa strength would be the same or not. The terrifying life cosmic energies condensed and descended from the sky, bombarding Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng sensed an infinite vitality invade his body and flow through it, and started shaking violently. The energies left his body and turned into an ancient tree. What a powerful life strength. Life kulpa strength? Is that kulpa strength though? Thought Lin Feng, laughing. He was surrounded by life kulpa strength and felt good. The landscape around was so beautiful, full of life. Boom! More kulpa cosmic energies bombarded Lin Feng's body, but they couldn't injure him. His physical body was far too powerful. Lin Feng could sense that the life strength was becoming more oppressive, however. Arg! When he looked for herbs in the wild with the elders, many people despised them, too. He was used to it. Indeed. We can change everything with our herbs and potions. Grand talents mature slowly, they just don't know that, agreed the young woman with a bright smile. All right, let's continue looking for herbs. Maybe that we could find a dragon vein herb, prodded the young man. This place was incredible and filled with many sorts of herbs. They would be able to make great potions. The handful of people continued looking for herbs. Even though their cultivation level was low, they were quite stubborn. They looked everywhere and found some herbs. Brother, that ancient tree is strange, pointed out the young woman loudly. The others also came over to see the ancient tree. They were surprised. It looks very strange indeed. Even though it contains life, it's also different from a tree, said one of the young men. The others nodded. They sensed that that tree was different. Brother, could it be precious? Asked the young woman enthusiastically. We can't break it. We have to uproot it and bring it back to the clan, said the young woman. The group used their full strength to uproot the tree. What's going on? I can't put it into my ring, swore the young man, stupefied. What a strange tree, he couldn't put it in his ring. He was astonished. Never mind, let's carry it back to the clan. It could be precious, suggested the young woman. The others nodded and headed back to their clan. They hadn't thought that tree could be so strange. Poor Lin Feng, he was in a dream and he didn't know that the tree he had created was being taken away by people. Chapter 1727. Tribe. In an ancient tribe, people looked ordinary and simple. Only the young people had new clothes. At this moment, in the ancient tribe, a few young people returned carrying a strange tree. How strange, this tree's life chi is very thick, but it doesn't look like a tree and its chi doesn't disperse. What sorcery is this? Asked the young man, examining the tree. You little boy, you're dreaming. You're so weak, how could you understand such an ancient tree which might be millions of years old? It might be an immortal and legendary life tree, said someone with a laugh. Everybody around also started laughing. The tribe was noisy. Who knows? Maybe that I was lucky to find this tree, said the young woman. She tried to look determined, but she knew that if that was a precious treasure, she probably wouldn't be able to do anything with it. How could a life tree be so easy to obtain? The elders are here. Let's see what they think, said someone at that moment. A few older people walked up to the tree, prodding and touching it. One of the old men frowned and whispered, "How strange." "What is strange?" asked someone else. "That tree's life chi is very dense and thick, but its life energy is as motionless as if it was dead." "How strange," murmured the old man. The other old people were stupefied and touched the tree again. Indeed, its vitality was motionless. "Have you ever heard of the tree of life and death?" asked the leader of the group to the other elders, who shook their heads. "Then, move back and have a look," said the old man. He released a terrifying strength. The young people were very weak, but the old men together had a scary chi. Boom! A gigantic hand crashed onto the tree, and the terrifying strength broke the tree. A silhouette flew away and crashed onto the ground, astonishing everyone. It was a young man, appearing clean and handsome. Lin Feng was terribly annoyed. He had created that tree to practice cultivation, and surprisingly someone had interrupted him. The worst part was that the old man had broken his world with that attack. When Lin Feng saw the crowd looking at him as if he were an alien, he rolled his eyes. He wanted to kill some people, but the old men were strong. Getting rid of them wouldn't be easy. "Who are you and why did you come to our clan?" asked the old man of Lin Feng. Lin Feng shook his head, greatly displeased. "Mister, I was practicing cultivation in the wild, you brought me here, then you attacked me, and now you ask me what I am doing here? You're ridiculous." The old man looked embarrassed. "Indeed, that's exactly what had happened. Please do as you wish, baby boy." "I just thought of something," said the old man with a hesitant smile. Then he looked at the young people and ordered, "Please take our guest for a walk around our territory." He was smiling cheerfully before scuttling off with the other elders. Lin Feng frowned and then smiled indifferently. Those old men were funny, but calling him baby boy was a bit strange. "I'm back," said someone in the distance. The crowd turned around and saw two people. One of them was tall and sturdy, and the one who was speaking looked even taller, stronger, and wilder. Lin Feng was stupefied when he saw the one on the right. He suddenly rose up in the air. The smaller young man scratched his head and smiled when he saw this. "Lin Feng, you're not dead." Lin Feng coughed and rolled his eyes. They hadn't seen each other for a long time. Lin Feng was happy despite himself. "You're not dead, why would I be dead?" shot back Lin Feng. "How could Huang Fulong die? I heard about your adventures in Ba Huang and so on, and about how you came out from the small world. You're still alive, that's impressive," laughed Huang Fulong, smiling and bumping fists with Lin Feng. When they bumped fists, Lin Feng sensed a sharp pain in his hand, but he tried not to think about it. Huang Fulong looked at Lin Feng and asked, "Lin Feng, why haven't you broken through to the Huang Qi layer?" Such a long time had passed, they had almost all broken through to the Huang Qi layer. Lin Feng was even more talented than the other elites back then. Even though some of them benefited from the wealth of their clans, Lin Feng should have broken through to the Huang Qi layer at least at the same time as they did. "I can't," said Lin Feng, shrugging and smiling. "Huang Fulong, who is he?" asked the bigger cultivator who was with Huang Fulong. The others were looking at them in a strange way. Surprisingly, Huang Fulong knew a strange guy in the middle of nowhere. Something had to be wrong. "My brother, Lin Feng," said Huang Fulong with a broad smile. Then he said to Lin Feng, "Lin Feng, that's Tantai the idiot." "Tantai the idiot? What kind of nickname was that?" "Tantai the wise," shouted Tantai furiously. He was even more domineering than Huang Fulong. "It's all the same. In any case, your name is Tantai, a little bit stupid, but that's enough," Huang Fulong went on. Lin Feng was speechless. He looked at the huge Tantai, who looked rather scary. "Huang Fulong, when did you come to the great world and how did you meet Tantai?" asked Lin Feng. After you left Ba Huang, many people started saying that the holy city was a fake place, that we lived in a small world. After learning about that, many people started leaving the small world. Nobody prevented them from leaving. I also heard about the holy city and learned that it existed. Then I started traveling and I met Tan Tai. Even though he's stupid, he's an excellent fighter. He's massive. We also exchanged views on cultivation and he hurt me, so we came here to heal my wounds, said Huang Fulong, rather annoyed. Huang Fulong is strong and massive. His cultivation level was probably too low, Lin Feng thought. As years will pass, you will have less and less chance to defeat me, said Tan Tai to Huang Fulong in a disdainful yet joking way. It's because you have medical scriptures and you used many ancient pills from small tribes to make your vitality, blood, chi, bones, and soul stronger. Your grand talents matured slowly, and now you're progressing faster and faster. Life's not fair, sniffed Huang Fulong unhappily. Tan Tai looked at him and said, I'm going to help you too. Lin Feng understood that there could be conflicts between people like that. However, young people in the tribe did look strange. The young people were weak and looked pitiful. Tan Tai was very young too, maybe a year older than some of them, and he had already broken through to the Huang Qi layer. His cultivation was already very stable. He looked like a massive beast with great vitality. Lin Feng, unfortunately, you haven't broken through to the Huang Qi layer, otherwise I would have fought against you, said Huang Fulong. He had never defeated Lin Feng, and each time they met he liked to challenge him. All right, stop fighting you two. Did you offend people outside you too? Asked the old man to Tan Tai. Tan Tai smiled, he looked embarrassed. Mister, in the holy city, that bunch of bastards despised us and didn't let us enter university. We were furious, so we fought with that bunch of bastards. You lost, said the old man indifferently. That was an accident, replied Tan Tai nervously. You lost and came back because you want me to heal you? How shameless, sighed the old man suddenly. His chi was terrifying, and even Tan Tai shivered. A bunch of weirdos, thought Lin Feng, sweating. All those people were strange, even the old people. Chapter 1728, Medicine Scriptures, Accident? Show me your injuries, said the old man unhappily. He inspected Tan Tai's pulse and frowned. How cold? That's cold hell's strength? Did you meet the Ice King's grandson? Asked the old man of Tan Tai. I didn't. It was someone from the Snow Clan, answered Tan Tai, scratching his head. The old man raised his head and asked, The Snow Clan arrived in the holy city? Indeed. A few young people, they're incredibly arrogant, Tan Tai told him unhappily. He had bad memories. But the Snow Clan's women are so beautiful. It's incredible. Tan Tai was smiling at the thought. The old man rolled his eyes and said, You're starting to think about women. The women of the Snow Clan are extremely beautiful, of course, but you can't go and offend them. Your injuries are serious. I'll go and prepare a potion for you. You know what to do. Don't worry, mister, just heal my injuries, and then give me some medicine I can take in different circumstances. I'll just take them myself, Tan Tai agreed with a smile, as if being injured was a good thing. Lin Feng was speechless, but he was more preoccupied with the fact that the Snow Clan was in the holy city. Baby boy, come too, said the old man to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and followed along as they were brought to a simple room. It was a small world, but different from other small worlds Lin Feng had seen. This small world didn't have pavilions, rivers, lakes, or forests. It was desolate and unpopulated. However, they could see medicinal herbs in the distance, gigantic fields, and the peasants living in thatched huts. It reminded Lin Feng of the ancient times. That world seemed perfect for Tan Tai. The old man set a flower on fire, a simple fire, no cauldron, no special fire. Lin Feng, did you notice anything strange? Huang Fulong asked Lin Feng. Tan Tai was next to them. He was so tall that even when seated it was as if he was standing. How strange, thought Lin Feng. The first time, it was the same for me, but I'm used to it now. The ancient tribes are like that, they're not civilized. People who can heal cultivators of the Ling Qi layer or Shen Qi layer are already very rare. In old days, the ancestors taught them how to heal. They had all medicine scriptures with recipes and so on. And the most incredible part of that story is that they can drain the energy out of your injuries, which is then good for them because they can use them for other purposes. It's so strange, Huang Fulong explained to Lin Feng. Lin Feng was stupefied. An ancient tribe? This tribe was probably a powerful one. Do they get hurt on purpose then? Asked Lin Feng. Huang Fulong nodded. You're right, those people fight every day and get hurt, then they recover and fight again. Their blood is different from people in the outside world. They don't use the stuff they give to babies to make them break through to the Tianqi layer like people in the outside world. They like to practice cultivation slowly and become stronger step by step. When they feel they're ready, they start practicing cultivation and then suddenly they become stronger and stronger at the speed of light. Lin Feng glanced at Tantai. No wonder this Tantai was a bit strange. I see, but do they use medicine to start? Lin Feng asked Tantai. Indeed. We look at the cultivation level of our children when they're about 15 years old. It's the most important age in our tribe. And then we start giving them suitable potions. No matter how you grew up, in what conditions, poor or wealthy, all the children are raised and can change their body, blood, will, and soul. We have so many potions here for everything. The blood, the bones, the soul, anything. We have powders, pills, liquids. We also have many seeds. Some people can become giants. Many people choose this. From the age of 15, people are raised by the clan in every aspect. Explained Tantai. Lin Feng was stupefied. Some people in the middle of nowhere understood such deep principles. Lin Feng definitely agreed with their methods. They could share. Their society was almost perfect. They lacked nothing. When you're injured, it's the same. You can also take pills. The problem is that we prefer using herbs to heal rather than to become stronger. We like being injured to convert it into strength and courage. We don't want to depend on herbs, continued Tantai, smiling at Lin Feng. But I don't understand those things that good anyway. Only old people know about those things. Lin Feng, don't worry, of course, I think our philosophy is not that bad. I think so too. The philosophy of your group is great, agreed Lin Feng with a nod. You can understand what I said? Asked Tantai. Lin Feng had understood him, but Tantai didn't understand what he said himself. A few things, replied Lin Feng, smiling. They belonged to different worlds. Learning about the culture of that tribe was an honor for Lin Feng. Lin Feng, this tribe are expert at creating medicine. They helped me change my body. Otherwise, I wouldn't have broken through to the Huang Qi layer that fast, Huang Fulong told him with a smile. Tantai and Huang Fulong had fought against each other back then. It was a great thing and the tribe was perfect for him. By the way, Lin Feng, you didn't tell me, how did you end up here? Asked Huang Fulong of Lin Feng. I traveled for a while. I went to vast celestial ancient city, and then I was on my way to the holy city and those people brought me here, replied Lin Feng cheerfully. He was trying to be clear and concise. You're also going to the holy city? Great. When we recover, let's go there together, but you better try and break through to the Huangqi layer, especially if you want to go to university. There are too many terrifying cultivators and some young people who are called kings. In the region of the Dark Night, I am extremely weak, admitted Huang Fulong. His eyes were twinkling and he felt enthusiastic. Lin Feng, people here are much stronger than in the small world. I love it here. The region is gigantic. The holy city is one of the 3 main cities. Of course there are terrifying cultivators there. The best ones all move there, Lin Feng told him happily, but he was also impatient. He wanted to see incredible cultivators. Lin Feng and maybe Huang Fulong and the others, if they had stayed in a small world, they might not have broken through to the Huangqi layer because the environment wasn't suitable. But in the great world, there were more possibilities. Indeed, some people are terrifyingly powerful. There are also incredibly beautiful women. Men chase them constantly. And outstanding women are arrogant, said Huang Fulong in annoyance. He's looking for a girlfriend, mocked Tantai. Shut up, said the old man loudly. Stop arguing. Don't forget past lessons. Tantai groaned. Nobody outside knows that I'm here. I didn't cause trouble. That bastard says he's a champion. He's insane. I didn't want the clan to get involved. Bastard, said the old man furiously. Tantai, did you hear what you said? You said you don't want the tribe to get involved? Don't forget about Ling Tian. Do you think I could let you die? Grandpa, it's not that serious. Don't worry. As long as I'm not strong enough to kill him, then I won't fight against him, said Tantai. Fighting against that person would be too difficult. Ling Tian was from another tribe. He had defeated Tantai. Now, he had proclaimed himself a champion and despised everyone. Chapter 1729. Champion, Champion. Lin Feng was curious. Some people were geniuses, some people had king bodies, but what was a champion? Lin Feng, you don't know what a champion is? Huang Fulong asked him. I only know about king bodies, replied Lin Feng. Indeed, in vast celestial ancient city, maybe there are no champions, but the holy city is different. It's in the central part of the region. No matter whom they face, such people proclaim themselves champions and challenge people, Huang Fulong explained to Lin Feng. Well, if those people are champions, they keep challenging the most outstanding geniuses, wondered Lin Feng. Of course, those who proclaim themselves champions are terrifying. They fear nobody. Of course, some of their opponents are stronger and defeat them, and then they become new champions. As long as they don't die, they fight to amaze the whole region. Huang Fulong seemed very enthusiastic and laughed loudly. He dreamed of being a champion. I see. Lin Feng now understood what champions were. It seemed that ancient traditions persisted through the ages. Tantai was saying that he had to become stronger to kill his opponent, a champion. All right, take it now, ordered the old man, giving a full jar full of liquid medicine to Tantai. Tantai swallowed everything in one bite. After that, he opened his mouth and burped as his face twisted. The drink was awful. Refine the potion now, shouted the old man. Tantai nodded and closed his eyes, starting to modify the medicine inside his body. Even though the old man's cultivation level wasn't very high as he hadn't become a great emperor, his medical skills were incredible. Tantai had faith in him. At that moment Lin Feng sensed a cold energy invade the atmosphere. He looked at Tantai assessingly. A terrifying ice energy was being forced out of Tantai's body. That medicine is very good for Tantai. He's healing quickly, thought Lin Feng. The tribe had been doing research into medicine for a very long time. They had such incredible skills. Many people dreamt of having such potions. Master, the medicine scriptures probably contain terrifying skills, right? Said Lin Feng to the old man. Indeed. The doctors of the tribe created many techniques and skills involving medicine. They also did much research about animal strength. My clan found out that animal strength was good for various things, and especially for people like Tantai, who use animal attacks and skills. He's like a lion, and a lion can destroy mountains and rivers. If someday he had the Lion King body, that would be incredible, replied the old man, not hiding the truth. There are also some people who still practice dragon strength, elephant strength, great rock strength, etc. We have all sorts of people and techniques. I see. Lin Feng nodded. Animal powers were perfect for those people. No wonder Tantai acted like an animal. He practiced lion skills and techniques. Huang Fulong has a powerful and brutal dragon body, so our clan is suitable for him. That's why we helped him. Unfortunately, he's not that young anymore, and it's difficult to make his body change. He can only rely on strength now, said the old man sadly. Huang Fulong smiled happily. It's already good. I benefit a lot from being here. I even broke through to the Huang Qi layer really quickly. If I hadn't been here, it would have taken much longer. By the way, Lin Feng, maybe he can help you break through to the Huang Qi layer? Potentially, wondered Lin Feng, but he smiled and shook his head. No need. I don't use medicine. Lin Feng had cleansed his body many times with the Devamara Kalpa strength. Each time in his small world he already modified his body. The effects were similar to this tribe's methods, but the Devamara Kalpa strength was mysterious. You, said Huang Fulong, shaking his head. The old man smiled at Lin Feng. This little boy wasn't easy to understand. Surprisingly, he had refused calmly. Good, said Tantai at that moment. He looked like he was having fun. Lin Feng looked at him. Tantai released Lion Qi. He was really strong. The medicine had made him stronger. Let's go back to the holy city. This time, let's hope that moron doesn't die, said Tantai. The old man rolled his eyes. You little bastard, can you stop talking nonsense? You get angry easily. You don't want me to become stronger? Said Tantai to the old man. Don't worry, I have the feeling that you are approving. Lin Feng, come with us. The holy city is much more fun than the tribes. Let's go and travel, declared Tantai, smiling down at Lin Feng. Right, Lin Feng, come with us, said Huang Fulong. He looked excited. Lin Feng shook his head and smiled wryly. But going with them was a good idea. Being with two friends while traveling was a good thing. His two friends were wanted by some people, though. With them, the situation could get dangerous. Let's go, said Lin Feng with a helpless smile. Awesome, said Tantai, clapping Lin Feng's shoulder. Lin Feng said goodbye to the old man, and they quickly left. In the outside world, up in the sky, there was a boat with 3 people on it. Tantai sensed the very strong wind brushing against his body and said, Lin Feng, our speed is incredible, we're going to save a lot of time, we can be there within half a day. It's the first time I have seen something this fast. Lin Feng, how did you get this? Asked Huang Fulong. He was very curious. Lin Feng hadn't broken through to the Huang Qi layer, and surprisingly he had such a terrifying treasure. Vast celestial ancient city is far away from the holy city, so an elder helped me and gave it to me, answered Lin Feng easily. With the strength of the Zun Qi layer, it would have taken you ages to travel to the holy city from vast celestial ancient city, said Tantai with a nod. By the way, Lin Feng, the beautiful women of the Snow Clan are so beautiful and very arrogant. Should we go and try to find a girlfriend among them? Lin Feng smiled wryly. No wonder that Huang Fulong called him Tantai the idiot. This guy had just forgotten what his grandpa had told him. Forget about Lin Feng. His wife is even more beautiful than the women of the Snow Clan. If you want to do that, you can go and do it yourself, Huang Fulong told Tantai. Hee, I was just joking. But I must get my revenge against the one who injured me, said Tantai unhappily. It had been hard for him. Said Huang Fulong, the Snow Clan thing is complicated to deal with anyway, let's go to university first. Indeed. No worries for the revenge. First university, and then we'll see if we can study anything interesting, agreed Tantai. Lin Feng, you haven't broken through to the Huang Qi layer yet. It'll be difficult for you to go to university, the exams are very tough. Huang Qi layer doesn't have any guarantee either. How come you were rejected last time? You failed the exam? Asked Lin Feng. That bastard. Last time, I looked at that girl too much and we started fighting, said Tantai angrily. Lin Feng understood. You said that you wanted her to be your wife, you started fighting, it's normal, said Huang Fulong. Tantai laughed and said spiritedly, have you never seen a beautiful woman? I wish I could have one. All right, said Lin Feng, shaking his head. What kind of exam do we have to sit to enter university? Battles, if can battle your way through, then you pass the exam. Different criteria for people of different ages and cultivation levels, replied Tantai. Lin Feng nodded that exam was fair. No matter what the person's social status, they could try. Chapter 1730, Champion University. The holy city was incredible. It was a gigantic city, but it looked like a small world. There were probably billions of people there. Therefore, Lin Feng could also see mountains, lakes and rivers on the horizon among gigantic buildings. There were also people everywhere, some of them having fun in parks. In the holy city, everybody was a cultivator. Lin Feng, can you see that mountain? Asked Huang Fulong, pointing at a mountain. It was gigantic, with precipices all around, lofty and piercing through the clouds. Lin Feng and the others were flying and still had to raise their heads to look at it. That is the Buddha Mountain. People who practice Buddhist cultivation go there on pilgrimages. There are 99,999 steps to get to the top. That's a way of achieving enlightenment for them. It is said that the record to get to the top is 3 years, and it was someone a long time ago, Huang Fulong told him. Lin Feng was stupefied. What a difficult test. 3 years? It meant that some people might need 10 years or more to get to the top. People who succeed are very determined. Otherwise, how could they become incredible Buddhist cultivators? Murmured Lin Feng. 3 years to climb up a flight of stairs for enlightenment? Lin Feng didn't really want to do that. Besides, 3 years was the record, it could take more. You're wrong, said Huang Fulong, laughing at Lin Feng. You can't imagine. Oh. Lin Feng didn't understand. How am I wrong? A long time ago, very few people came here, and from what people know, they all became great demon cultivators and not Buddhist cultivators, laughed Huang Fulong. Lin Feng frowned. They didn't practice Buddhist cultivation, they became incredible demon cultivators? Unexpected. At the top of the mountain, is there a Buddhist school? Asked Lin Feng. Why did those people become demons if they were Buddhists? It must be a Buddhist school. It is said that people there are terrifying. Nobody has doubts about that, otherwise, nobody would do the pilgrimage, Huang Fulong told him. Can't you get to the top by flying? Nobody has ever tried. Never go against ancient Buddhist rules, said Huang Fulong, shaking his head. Very strange place, agreed Lin Feng with a smile. He turned around and looked at the mountain. Unfortunately, he didn't practice Buddhist cultivation, otherwise he would try. The holy city has many mysteries, said Huang Fulong, laughing in anticipation. By the way, there are several universities in the holy city. To which one are we going? Asked Lin Feng. He had heard about several universities, but he didn't know their names. In the holy city, there are 4 universities for different majors. Champion University, which trains people to become champions. People there love fighting. The Celestial Godly University is where people study special powers. The Ancient University trains people to develop their godly awareness. They're very strong, they can destroy people's will and stuff like that. Only the 4 Seasons University is different. They don't put the emphasis on anything in particular. They think every discipline is important, Tan Tai informed him. Which ones are the best? Asked Lin Feng. They can't be compared, they have different purposes, replied Tan Tai. Those universities had existed for a long time in the holy city. Because every generation was different, different universities were created. There was no competition between them. Which university do you want to go to? Asked Lin Feng. He was curious. These guys were fighters and had powerful physical bodies. Maybe that they wanted to go to the Champion University. Not sure yet, replied Tan Tai, scratching his head and smiling uncertainly. How will you find a girlfriend from the Snow Clan if you're not sure? Asked Lin Feng. That guy had said that he had had a problem with a girl from the Snow Clan last time when sitting an exam. Tan Tai looked embarrassed, but laughed to cover it up. He's odd, thought Lin Feng. Then Huang Fulong said in a low voice, Let me explain. It doesn't matter really, Lin Feng, we're in the holy city now. Last time we went to the Champion University but we failed the exam, that's all. Tan Tai just didn't want to tell his grandfather about that. Then we went to the Celestial Godly University and encountered someone from the Snow Clan, whom we fought. Lin Feng twitched. He understood now. Tan Tai was embarrassed. He had failed the exam of Champion University and then he had lost against a member of the Snow Clan. No wonder he didn't want to tell his grandpa. Lin Feng, we failed the exam of the Champion University. You choose, which university should we go to? In any case, it's all about cultivation. There will be people to fight everywhere, said Tan Tai. The region of the Dark Night had many outstanding young men who came to the 3 main cities to practice. Those people were usually already strong. The 4 universities of the Holy City probably raised incredible talents. You want to go to the Champion University, right? Last time you failed, do you want to try again? Asked Lin Feng. All right. The exam is every 3 months. If you fail, you can try again. The last exam was a month ago. We have to wait to enter the next exam, replied Tan Tai. The Champion University was perfect for Tan Tai and Huang Fulong. They were real fighters. They had failed the last time and 3 months wasn't a long wait for the chance to become much stronger. They were worried for Lin Feng, who hadn't broken through to the Huangqi layer. Alright, let's try Champion University again then, Lin Feng nodded. Alright, last time I failed. Even if I went to other universities, I'd probably fail as well. My best chance is to try Champion University until I succeed. If I fail next time too, I'll just wait 3 more months and then try again, said Tantai firmly. The 3 of them headed towards Champion University. The boat was extremely fast, and after a short time, they saw a gigantic campus, a city within the city. Lin Feng, that's Champion University. Outsiders can't enter by flying. Even students can fly only at 1,000 meters around the area. They're very strict. Huang Fulong explained to Lin Feng. I understand, nodded Lin Feng. The place was so famous, so being strict wasn't surprising. I think the university looks like a country in the small world, observed Huang Fulong with a laugh. The campus was gigantic. There were mountains, lakes, and rivers. There were historical remains too. Indeed. In the small world, you'd be a god, but here at university? Agreed Lin Feng, laughing. That university is very old. The buildings are so well preserved though. And there are some mysterious historical remains, just like in a country actually. Let's go. Lin Feng and the others descended to the ground and arrived outside of Champion University. There were some people looking at the university and dreaming that someday they'd be able to study there. We must wait a little less 2 months before the next exam. I wonder how many people will be accepted? Asked someone outside. Something great is going to happen before the next exam, though. The champion will be announced, replied his interlocutor. Many people were stupefied when they heard that. The champion? Maybe that if they defeated the champion, they'd become champions too. You can't fight against him. At the same level, he's too strong, and you have no experience. People of the same generation can't fight against him. People nodded. Indeed, in the holy city, there were too many geniuses. But at the same time, there were also many potential champions. Gotcha. Tantai clenched his fists when he heard them. He looked like an animal. Lin Feng looked at Tan. The one who had said he was a champion was that the person Tantai had talked about. Chapter 1731, Grudge and Resentment. Beginning and end bullshit. Despicable people dare call themselves King Ing, shouted Tantai furiously. People around looked at Tantai. He was brave and audacious. He dared humiliate champions. Everybody knew that Ing Cheng was very aggressive and arrogant. If someone dared disrespect him, he killed them without hesitation. Tantai, shouted Huang Fulong grimly. He was furious because of the champions. What's going on? Asked Lin Feng. Let's go, said Huang Fulong, dragging Tantai away. People looked confused. Ing Cheng was terrifying. In the holy city, he was very famous. Weak people better not offend him. After leaving, Tantai said coldly, back then, when Ling Tian reappeared after a long time, he was extremely strong. He had studied dragon elephant strength. His strength was unfathomable. Nobody could compete with him in the tribe. He came to the holy city, joined the Champion University, and then Ing Cheng plotted against him. He tried to kill him secretly, and Ling Tian was really badly injured and couldn't recover. Such despicable people dare call themselves champions? What did he do? Asked Lin Feng. Even the small tribe had such incredible cultivators sometimes. I'm not sure. Only a few people knew about that battle, and they're all dead now, Tantai answered grimly. How can you be sure that Ing Cheng plotted against him? He's extremely strong and he dares call himself a champion, but he really is incredibly strong. Lin Feng challenged him. I perfectly understand that. Back then, Ling Tian and Ing Cheng were considered incredible geniuses. Ling Tian was in Champion University, Ing Cheng is in the Celestial Godly University. They fought. Ling Tian's gigantic elephant strength was terrifying and he defeated Ing Cheng. However, after that, Ling Tian was friendly to him and they became friends. But during the competition of the 4 universities, Ling Tian was suddenly injured and couldn't recover. He was killed. If you told me that Ing Cheng defeated Ling Tian in the framework of a normal battle, I wouldn't believe it. Besides, Ling Tian thought of him as a friend. Even during the competition, he would have never hurt him. But in the end, Ling Tian died. Ying Cheng definitely did something tricky, declared Tan Tai. He sounded furious. Ying Cheng had secretly killed Ling Tian? How sad. What a pity. A genius had been killed for no reason. Did Champion University get involved? Asked Ling Tian. After all, Ling Tian was a member of the Champion University. Ying Cheng was from the Celestial Godly University. Ling Tian died during the competition of the 4 universities. Even if Ying Cheng resorted to evil methods, the Champion University couldn't say anything. But some strong cultivators of the Champion University learned about it, but didn't manage to do anything. That's also one of the reasons why I want to join Champion University, replied Tan Tai. He seemed annoyed. Unfortunately, I'm not as talented as Ling Tian, and Ying Cheng is extremely strong. He's become famous already. I can't catch up with him anymore. If you really want to, you'll succeed. Grand talents mature slowly, especially in your tribe, said Lin Feng, slapping Tan Tai's shoulders and smiling encouragement. Tan Tai just nodded. Since Ying Cheng is supposed to be a champion, we'll see how arrogant he is. Alright, good. I also want to see what a champion looks like. There should also be many strong cultivators there, nodded Lin Feng. Lin Feng actually didn't care much about Ying Cheng. If he could see him, why not though? However, Lin Feng also thought that he might meet people he knew there. Many people from the vast celestial ancient city went to the holy city. Lin Feng knew that. He also knew that Jun Emoshi was there, and also, he couldn't wait to meet other friends from Tiantai. Maybe some of them would be in the holy city? After all, for those people from the small world, the holy city was symbolic. The name itself had always been very mysterious. Jun Emoshi was here, Huang Fulong was here, Lin Feng was here. Since they were all here, Lin Feng was convinced that other people would come to the holy city as well. It was only a matter of time. Besides, the holy city was vast. It was as big as a small world. Bumping into friends or acquaintances wasn't easy there, but during a big event, it would be possible. By the way, Huang Fulong Jun Emoshi is also in the holy city. You didn't know that, right? Asked Lin Feng, grinning at Huang Fulong. Really? Asked Huang Fulong, stupefied. Indeed. You know the King of Hell Palace? Asked Lin Feng. King of Hell Palace? Tan Tai was startled. The King of Hell Palace was created by the King of Hell. In his best years, he started calling himself the King of Hell and amazed the holy city. Now, the elders of the King of Hell Palace must have become incredibly strong. Lin Feng smiled. People admired strong cultivators in the world. Tan Tai admired champions, but he was sad that Ying Cheng was one. Jun Emoshi is now the Prince of Hell in the King of Hell Palace. Lin Feng smiled. Huang Fulong and Tan Tai glanced at each other. Huang Fulong smiled and said, "Not bad. He's really awesome." Surprisingly, he became the Prince of Hell of the King of Hell Palace. Let's go there. Let's go and find Jun Emoshi. Huang Fulong, you surprisingly have such strong friends. Tan Tai said teasingly. Becoming a Prince of Hell of the King of Hell Palace was very difficult. Of course, Jun Emoshi has the imperial immortal body. In the small world, we didn't care about king-type bodies, but here we do. I have a brutal dragon body. I am quite satisfied, replied Huang Fulong with a grin. Their boat started moving in the direction of the King of Hell Palace. They wanted to see Jun Emoshi. Your brutal dragon body is a joke, mocked Tan Tai. Huang Fulong looked angry. He wanted to hit the other, but unfortunately, he wasn't strong enough. Tan Tai, I've never told you, but in our group of friends, Lin Feng was the most talented one. He was even stronger than Jun Emoshi. The most surprising thing is that he can't break through to the Huangqi layer. Huang Fulong shook his head. After so many years, Lin Feng should have broken through to the Huangqi layer. Why was he stuck at the top of the Zunqi layer? Lin Feng was the most talented one? How strange. Antai looked intrigued. Huang Fulong, my cultivation is different from yours. Whether I will break through to the Huangqi layer or not is not a problem for me. You'll understand soon. Smiled Lin Feng. Alright, I believe you. I hope you will surprise me pleasantly. Agreed Huang Fu Long, smiling and not insisting. The king of Hell Palace was suspended above dark waters. Lin Feng and the others arrived by their skyboat. They looked at the vast palace in front of them. It looked like hell, and it rather unreal. The palace in front of them was floating above the water and kept flickering as if it was shaking. In front of the main gate, there was a bridge, and the bridge was floating in the air too. King of Hell Palace. Lin Feng read the letters at the top of the gate. It looked incredible. Lin Feng thought that that place was probably a small world, including the murky waters. Let's go, said Lin Feng, jumping onto the bridge. After a short time, he arrived in front of the main gate of the King of Hell Palace. Some guards were there, wearing dark metal armors. They looked at Lin Feng and asked, "Who are you?" "I'm Jun Emoshi's friend. If we can't go in, we can also wait for him here," answered Lin Feng patiently. He had already contacted Jun Emoshi using their talismans anyway. "I see, please wait here," replied one of the guards coldly. Not just anyone could get into their territory. Very quickly, Jun Emoshi arrived. He smiled at Lin Feng and Huang Fu Long. "Huang Fu Long, you came to the holy city as well, right? And you became the Prince of Hell of the King of Hell Palace. That's incredible!" exclaimed Huang Fu Long enthusiastically. "By the way, this is Tantai the Idiot, a new friend of mine." "Tantai the Wise," said Tantai furiously. "That bastard, how dare he say such an insulting thing?" "Oh man," sighed Jun Emoshi, glancing at Huang Fu Long. He then glanced at Tantai and said, "Brother Tantai, come to the King of Hell Palace." The friends headed along the main road of the King of Hell Palace. There were many palaces as it was gigantic, and the chi there was pale but everywhere, like water. "The King of Hell Palace is a cold place, ice hell," exclaimed Tantai. He felt cold even though he was extremely strong. It meant that the energies here were terrifying. "It's cold here, it's normal," said Jun Emoshi with a smile. The palace was beautiful but still cold. "Prince of Hell," greeted someone, bowing before Jun Emoshi on the way. Jun Emoshi smiled back. After a short time, they arrived in front of an ancient pavilion. Jun Emoshi took some hot unit bottles from Lin Feng and grinned. "We haven't drunk together for such a long time. Now, the four of us can have a drink." "Hee hee, unfortunately, a girl is not here," chuckled Huang Fu Long. Lin Feng smiled at him and asked, "Do you miss Tian Chi Shui?" "How could I? In the great world, there are many amazing women. How could I miss her?" "Huang Fu Long, I'll help you. I'll introduce you to beautiful women. In the holy city, there are many of them, and they're very strong on top of that," Jun Emoshi smiled. He was the Prince of Hell of the King of Hell Palace. He knew the holy city quite well already. He probably knew many geniuses. "That's..." Huang Fu Long looked confused and embarrassed. Lin Feng and the others just grinned at him. "Come, have a drink." Jun Emoshi raised his glass and everybody downed their drinks. "Did you come here to go to university? In a month, the exams will start. Which university do you want to go to?" "Champion University." Lin Feng grinned. "Champion University is not bad, but Lang Yi will go to Four Seasons University. He wants to learn everything," Jun Emoshi told him. "Four Seasons University," repeated Lin Feng. "It reminds me of Chu Chun Chiu." "Of course, Chu Chun Chiu will probably go to the ancient university." Chapter 1732, Reputation. Chu Chun Chiu studied the sky-absorbing holy scriptures. He can absorb emperors' wills. He should go to the ancient university, but he's enigmatic and unfathomable. Maybe he will go to another university, suggested Jun Emoshi. Lin Feng nodded agreement. Chu Chun Chiu was enigmatic. In less than half a year, he had become a medium-level emperor. He was terrifyingly strong now and would become monstrously strong in the future. "Emoshi, did you know that Chu Chun Chiu became a medium-level emperor?" said Lin Feng. Jun Emoshi nodded. "Even though I came back to the holy city, I still know what's going on in the vast celestial ancient city. Chu Chun Chiu became a medium-level emperor in less than 2 years. You killed Song Shao and then disappeared. Back then, I thought you were probably going to come to the holy city." Of course, I hadn't thought you'd come so fast. In less than 2 years? Huang Fulong was startled. How strong? Actually, less than 1.5, corrected Lin Feng. He asked Zhu Nemo-shi, what do you think about Chu Chunqiu? He's very secretive. I wonder if the Chu clan helped him or if he solely relied on his strength. If he did rely solely on himself, then it means he's a terrifying cultivator, replied Zhu Nemo-shi. Such a cultivation speed was almost impossible. Lin Feng nodded and smiled. Let's not talk about him and drink. And so they continued drinking. How good. Cultivators love very strong alcohol. Hot unit makes my blood boil, said Tan Tai happily. It was good to be with friends. After drinking for a while, the faces of the 4 friends were all red. Zhu Nemo-shi stood up and laughed. I haven't been that happy in a long time. We have no alcohol left. Let's go out. I'll introduce you to some people. Maybe that they'll become your competitors if they want to go to the same university as you. All right, the holy city is legendary for us. Let's do some sightseeing, said Lin Feng cheerfully. They all started walking the streets of the holy city. Maybe Huang Fulong will meet someone, said Zhu Nemo-shi, laughing. Everybody else laughed too. The friends left the king of Hell Palace. Zhu Nemo-shi was the prince of hell. Nobody dared stop him. In the holy city, there was a gigantic building, the Palace of Provision, with flights of stairs all around it. At the top of the building, there was an ancient pavilion with good food and good alcohol. There was also a young woman dancing lightly and gracefully. However, nobody else could go to that pavilion. At that moment, Zhu Nemo-shi and the others arrived at the foot of the Palace of Provision. However, a group of beautiful women prevented them from going in. They were all beautiful and graceful. They smiled at Zhu Nemo-shi. Prince of Hell, your presence brings light to our humble dwelling. One of them greeted him. Those people are my friends. I want to show them around, said Zhu Nemo-shi with a smile. However, a woman smiled back and asked, the Palace of Provision has rules. Who are they? I can't take my friends in? Asked Zhu Nemo-shi unhappily. The friends of the Prince of Hell are probably outstanding people, but the Palace of Provision has rules/people who are above 40 years old and people whose cultivation level is inferior to Emperor cannot enter the Palace of Provision. Please don't feel offended, said the woman, looking embarrassed. Lin Feng was stupefied and thought that the Palace of Provision was probably monstrously strong, because those rules were very specific. Being under 40 and having already broken through to the Huangqi layer was already incredible. But in the Holy City, there were also many geniuses. There are more rules. Those who are very talented and those who have a prestigious social status can also enter the palace, right? Asked Zhu Nemo-shi indifferently. Indeed, so you understand my position. Lin Feng walked up to the woman and suddenly lights appeared indistinctly. Lin Feng was suddenly surrounded by many lights of different colors. They looked beautiful. Cosmic strength, so many cosmic energies. The woman was surprised as she smiled. You're incredible, you already control so many cosmic energies. When you break through to the Huangqi layer, you'll be terrifying. You are very talented, you are welcome to the Palace of Provision. Then, she nodded to indicate Lin Feng could go in. Richly ornamented palace, the statues and paintings seem alive, said Tan Tai with a sigh. That's the king's palace, right? It's incredible. It's the first time I've come here. Indeed, that's the king's palace. Even though there are many rules, people who come here are really incredible. They can hang out with many other incredible geniuses. They can also learn about things you can't even imagine. Zhu Nemo-shi replied cheerfully. The 4 of them walked up a flight of stairs, seeing people on every floor. After a short time, they arrived at the top. It was quite large. There were many people who seemed to be talking about something. A beautiful woman led the way and showed Zhu Nemo-shi and the others to a stone table. They sat down and started drinking good alcohol and eating good food. The Holy City is a great place for geniuses. It plays an important role as one of the main cities. There is a lot of competition here. The best fighters are the most competitive. Those who can defeat the most heroic young people become champions. The champion university is the strongest group, a young man said at that moment. The champion university is very famous, but are they really the best? Why would the champion be Ing Cheng, then? He's from the Celestial Godly University, said someone else. All in all, cultivators can't avoid using special powers. Cultivation is limited, but strength is the most important thing. The four universities have a long history. Many people compete against each other. Everybody wants to be a champion. No matter what, the future can always change. Even though Ing Cheng is the champion and his attacks are terrifying, it doesn't prove that he's a peerless cultivator, said someone else. For him, competition was useless. So according to you, everybody should go to the Four Seasons University and study all sorts of things, but don't forget that even though the Four Seasons University is one of the four universities, most of the geniuses who studied there were amongst the weakest ones, rebutted the other one. Just statistics, cultivators are free to choose their own path. Everybody expressed their own opinions. Lin Feng was thinking. Cultivators could choose their own path, but it was difficult. For Lin Feng, everything seemed to be possible, but still the situation was complex. His cultivation speed wasn't incredible, but he was very good at fighting because he had studied a lot of things. Thinking too much about those things were useless. Life was mysterious. Lin Feng had thought about those questions in the past, but each time it was the same, he had no answer. The best thing was to focus. The Prince of Hell is here. What do you think, my friend? Asked someone with a smile of greeting. I'm not very smart, I learned so slowly, and I am bad in terms of physical strength, battling strategies, skills, techniques, willpower, and soul, replied Jun Emoshi lightly. It sounded like bullshit, but nobody laughed. Many people whispered. Then, the one who had just talked smiled and said, "You're right. The most important thing is strength. The rest should be centered around cultivation. Everybody has their own path. If someone isn't a student anywhere, then they can dream," said another person easily. "Who are those people next to you?" "My friends," stated Jun Emoshi. "I've known Lin Feng and Huang Fulong for many years. And that's Tan Tai, a friend of mine. Tan Tai, I saw him last time at the Celestial Godly University. A celestial girl from the Snow Clan kicked him last time." "Friends of the Prince of Hell? I would have never thought that." "I see," said someone, smiling in a calm and serene way. Tan Tai and Huang Fulong glanced at him coldly. "I've heard that Brother Shang has failed university exams 4 times. People who sat the exams for the first time with you are all students now, and some of them even succeeded the first time. Brother Shan, I wouldn't have thought I'd see you here." "I'm very surprised," Jun Emoshi replied coolly. "It's okay to practice," that person said angrily. Jun Emoshi was surprisingly making the situation escalate. "I've heard about Lin Feng," spoke up someone else. Everybody looked at him. He looked at Lin Feng and asked cheerfully, "Your Excellency, are you from the vast celestial ancient city?" "Indeed," confirmed Lin Feng politely. "I see. Brother Lin, I've heard that you used the Celestial Evolution chessboard and the Sun Holy Clan's Sun Disk to kill dozens of emperors of the vast celestial ancient city's holy clans, and even some medium-level emperors. You even killed Song Shao. You like fighting, it seems," said that person with a thin smile. He hadn't thought he'd meet the legendary cultivator who had been abandoned by the gods. And the rumors were true, he wasn't an emperor. "Your Excellency, you're flattering me," replied Lin Feng politely. Huang Fulong and Tan Tai looked at Lin Feng in a strange way. That guy had already killed that many emperors? Even medium-level emperors? Lin Feng, who has been abandoned by the gods at the Ice Moon Lake? Many people now remembered Lin Feng's name and looked at him. He had challenged many disciples from huge clans. Every big city paid attention to what happened in other cities. If something happened, they learned about it, and therefore many people had learned about the situation in vast celestial ancient city. Among the news, they had learned that Chu Chunqiu was terrifyingly strong, and that someone with a godly imprint king body and someone with the world king body had appeared. They also knew that Lin Feng, who had been abandoned by the gods, was an imperial culpa, that he controlled 7 types of cosmic energies, and that he had the Celestial Evolution chessboard which he had used to kill many strong cultivators from the Sun Holy Clan and the Heaven Clan. They also knew about the Moon Palace, Empress Shi's rebirth, the Netherworld Demon Emperor, and the strong cultivators of the Moon Palace. Those things were important, so people knew about Lin Feng. Chapter 1733. Champion, Your Excellency, I've heard Lin Feng said he'd defy the skies and would break through to the Huang Qi layer. Unfortunately, he still only knows 7 sorts of cosmic energies and hasn't broken through to the Huang Qi layer, a young man in white clothes said softly. He looked at Lin Feng with compassion. Unfortunately, he's an imperial culpa and can't break through to the Huang Qi layer, someone else explained. Lin Feng was very strange. They had heard about Lin Feng's adventures at the Ice Moon Lake. Prince of Hell, your friend is special. He killed Yang Yen from the Sun Holy clan. Now, he's in the Holy City. He'll definitely encounter some people from the Heaven clan and the Sun Holy clan if he stays here. They'll want to get their revenge. Lin Feng should be very careful here. Don't worry about me. I was fine in the vast celestial ancient city, so why wouldn't I be safe in the Holy City? What could happen? Asked Lin Feng breezily. I've heard that Lin Feng relied on the Celestial Evolution chessboard to kill emperors and that without the Celestial Evolution chessboard, he would have died. Can you show us your Celestial Evolution chessboard? Asked the one who had been rude to Tantai. Everybody was stupefied. Brother Shang spoke up. Indeed. The Celestial Evolution chessboard is a treasure from the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. I've never seen it. Please show it to us, Brother Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at those people and smiled indifferently. You all have incredible social statuses, you all have incredible treasures. Can you show them to me as well? Right? You're all quite cheeky. Would you show your treasures to everyone? Asked Tantai furiously. Those people were really brazen. The Celestial Evolution chessboard was Lin Feng's treasure. Why would he show it to them? How ridiculous. After seeing it, what? They'd ask him if they could use it? Those people were startled. Brother Shang smiled coldly. You have a bad temper. We just to see how amazing the Celestial Evolution chessboard is. What is the problem? You don't know how to differentiate good from bad. We don't know how to differentiate good from bad? So why don't you take out the great treasures of your clan then? Shot back Tantai furiously. Insolent, shouted one of the young men coldly. Do you know where you are? You came here. We let you in just to give the Prince of Hell face. Tantai suddenly stood up. He was furious. Waves of energies were rolling around him. However, Jun Emoshi dragged him back and made him sit down. Then he said indifferently, Shang Yu, the Palace of Provision is a place for incredible geniuses. You're allowed in here, so why wouldn't my friends be? You think that they were allowed in only to give me face? You're just supporting your friends. Those 2 emperors are maybe okay, but Lin Feng hasn't even broken through to the Huang Qi layer yet. He couldn't be in here if it wasn't for you, sneered Shang Yu indifferently. Lin Feng has killed many emperors in his life. Have you ever killed emperors, Brother Shang Yu? Asked Jun Emoshi. The vast celestial ancient city is the vast celestial ancient city. Here is the holy city. Besides, back then, Lin Feng relied on the Celestial Evolution chessboard to fight back then. It doesn't prove he's strong. If he doesn't use weapons, then what will happen? Sniffed Shang Yu, taking a drink before he stopped talking. Amongst all these people, you're one of the weakest ones, noted Jun Emoshi calmly. Shang Yu looked back at him coldly. Jun Emoshi wasn't pretending anymore, he was directly humiliating him. Nobody said anything, but they were amused. It had nothing to do with them. Lin Feng came from the vast celestial ancient city. They didn't know how strong he was. How noisy, said someone walking up the stairs towards the top floor. In another pavilion at the top, some people who had an imposing appearance were seated in a pavilion. They looked heroic. That's Yu Wenho, a strong cultivator from Champion University. He's terrifyingly strong, thought the crowd. Yu Wenho was famous in Champion University. He had been studying there for 2 years and he had already proven how strong he was. The following exam would depend on him. Don't look at me like that. I'm just taking a walk, said Yu Wenho evenly. Some beautiful women brought drinks over to him. Those people are cool. I wonder how many people will sit the exam next time, wondered one of them with a smile. Dan Meng, be merciful when facing those little boys, said someone else to the one who had just talked. He was dressed in black and smiling thinly. The crowd looked at Dan Meng. He played an important part in Champion University. He was very aggressive too. Shang Yu, you keep failing this time, do your best, your brother told me to take care of you. Dan Meng said to Shang Yu with a smile. He then looked annoyed and said, I have the feeling that you still need years before succeeding though. Ha, don't worry. With you, the same thing couldn't happen, said Shang Yu, laughing loudly. Everybody understood why Shang Yu wanted to pass the exam of the Champion University. He had tried to sit the exams of the other universities to train. You're the chief examiner? Tantai asked Dan Meng. The chief examiners were in charge of the exams. Competitors had to defeat chief examiners. I'm one of the chiefs among the low-level emperors indeed, said Dan Meng, smiling at Tantai. All right, if the other chief examiners are like you, then being accepted at the Champion University shouldn't be a problem, said Tantai with a smile. Everybody looked at Tantai speechlessly. Lin Feng had a sip of alcohol. He remained silent. Tantai was a bit too direct. As expected, Dan Meng's mouth twitched. He looked at Tantai and said, We'll see. Wait for me then, said Tantai cheerfully. The friends of the Prince of Hell are funny. He dares act so arrogantly. Shang Yu observed coldly. Dan Meng was very strong. In a one-on-one fight against him, defeating Tantai wouldn't be difficult for him, and Tantai dared say he would easily pass if all the chief examiners were like Dan Meng. Junimo Shi, let's go. Those people are too narrow-minded. They only think about social status, it's boring, Tantai said to Junimo Shi. It's not that way. Some of my friends like coming here. It's just that they didn't come today. We might meet them again next time, agreed Junimo Shi, also standing up. Are you all going to sit the exam of Champion University? Dan Meng asked Tantai and the others. The three of us will sit the exam of Champion University. Wait for us, answered Tantai. All right, we'll see, replied Dan Meng. Shang Yu broke in. Good luck, you can't use treasures at the exam, only pure strength. I hope you don't encounter me at the exam, said Tantai to Shang Yu. Otherwise, you'll fail like all the other times. We'll see. Shang Yu spat back. Junimo Shi and the others left the Palace of Provision, and after that, they went back to the King of Hell Palace. They stayed there until the 3 days preceding the university exam. Ying Cheng had a battle stage in the Celestial Godly University. The 4 universities had existed for a long time in the Holy City. They had a long history, and many geniuses had studied there, including some people who had amazed the whole region. In history, after becoming a champion, the academic institutions considered the cultivator as extremely strong. It was an honor. Of course, champions also had to go through a terribly difficult exam. Otherwise, if they became normal after having become champions, then the universities would have been humiliated. Ying Cheng was in the Celestial Godly University and walking towards the crowd from the Holy City. He was kinging in that place. At that moment, the crowd was gigantic. Lin Feng was among them. How incredible, there are even many great emperors, Tantai thought, glancing around. Even in the bleachers, some people were terrifying. Around the champions' bleachers, there were statues everywhere, incredible teachers of the university who had existed before. They were the symbols of the glory of the university. In the Holy City, there are many strong cultivators and many geniuses. In the 4 universities, there are strong cultivators in all the universities. Every 100 years, a champion is chosen. It's a glorious thing. Champions have to be very strong, said Junimo Shi. Tantai glanced at him. He wasn't happy about the new champion. 100 years is too long indeed. Champions have to be extraordinarily strong, murmured Lin Feng. But this year, apart from Ying Cheng in the Champion University, there's another strong cultivator. He's young and has the potential to be a champion, Junimo Shi told Lin Feng. Champion University? Indeed. Ji Chang, his name is Ji Chang, said Junimo Shi with a nod. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. In the Holy City, there were many geniuses. Would Lin Feng find his place there? Chapter 1734. King Ji Shang on stage, a dazzling light shone down, and people appeared. Everybody saw a light beam and many silhouettes. Those people remained as motionless as statues. The number of people is increasing. The day of the champion is very important, said Lin Feng. Jun Emoshi nodded agreement. Extraordinary champions make universities happy. Champions are really strong, it's not an exaggeration. An ancient bell rang and resonated far in the distance. A silhouette slowly arrived, climbing up the flight of stairs. That person looked ordinary, but at the same time enigmatic and unfathomable. He had the chi of a king. Each time he made a step, people's hearts pounded. His steps were in symbiosis with the cosmic waves of the land. As soon as he showed up, everyone looked at him. No matter where he was the hero. Ying Cheng. Even people who had never seen Ying Cheng recognized him. He looks brutal and violent, like a dragon or a tiger, as if the earth could collapse around him. He really looks scary, thought Lin Feng, observing Ying Cheng's chi. He sighed. There was probably a huge difference between him and Ying Cheng. A champion appeared every 100 years. They were extremely strong. Champions were even rarer than king bodies. It was a step-by-step process. It took time to become a champion. Junimo Shi, what is Ying Cheng's cultivation level? Asked Lin Feng to Junimo Shi. I don't know, but he can probably destroy any emperor, Junimo Shi answered calmly. Lin Feng nodded. As expected, Ying Cheng was terrifyingly strong. Today is the ceremony of the champion. Thank you for coming here, everyone, said an old man at that moment. Lin Feng glanced around. Some of the cultivators were enigmatic and unfathomable. Maybe they were from the 3 other universities. Congratulations to the Celestial Godly University for having a champion. The 4 Seasons University wishes Ying Cheng much luck, said another old man at that moment. He was extremely strong. The ancient university also congratulates the champion Ying Cheng, said another old man, a strong cultivator from the ancient university. However, after them, nobody continued. People looked surprised. The champion university didn't express themselves. But since there were tensions between the champion university and the Celestial Godly University, it was normal. Back then, they had a cultivator who was talented and who had even defeated Ying Cheng, but then Ying Cheng killed him. If he hadn't died back then, he probably would have become a great emperor. Unfortunately, that hero had died. Besides, the champion university had a terrifyingly strong cultivator. Some people already called Ji Chang a champion, or King Ji Chang. He had the potential to be a champion. He was the only one who could possibly defeat Ying Cheng. Have people from the champion university not arrived yet? Asked Ying Cheng at that moment. He sounded angry. Nobody replied. Nobody from the champion university congratulated him. The atmosphere became calm. Ying Cheng said, the 4 universities should be here for the champion, and now champion university is not here. We'll definitely go to the champion university at some point. Ying Cheng released energies. The crowd shivered. Ying Cheng was a real champion. Surprisingly, champion university dared to humiliate him. He had to teach them a good lesson. The champion university is here, said a voice in the sky. Chi rolled in waves and a tornado appeared. A silhouette also appeared. The person was wearing a golden robe and looking at Ying Cheng angrily. King Ji Chang. The crowd was stupefied. The champion university was there, but King Ji Chang looked angry. How scary. King Ji Chang is the only person who would dare face Ying Cheng like that. The 4 Seasons University and the Ancient University have incredible geniuses, but none of them are as strong as Ying Cheng and Ji Chang, thought the crowd. Ying Cheng raised his head and 2 lights of fury appeared in his eyes. He shouted furiously and released energies, rising up into the air. He released energies which pressured Ji Chang. Boom! The 2 threads of will collided. 2 silhouettes appeared, Ji Chang and Ying Cheng silhouettes. Ying Cheng, wait for me, said Ji Chang loudly. Ying Cheng was the champion. Ji Chang stopped confronting him and joined the crowd. I can't wait to battle against you. Ying Cheng's voice rolled in waves in the air. The 2 silhouettes collided and the energies exploded and disappeared. The crowd couldn't calm down. That was incredible. Ing Cheng, wait until Ji Chang is the new champion. No wonder that he's King Ji Chang, he's incredible. He'll definitely become a champion, exclaimed someone next to Lin Feng and the others. They turned their heads and saw some people they knew. They had seen them in the Palace of Provision. Yuan Ho, the strong cultivator from Champion University, Dan Meng, and the others. Of course, Ji Chang went far away for a while. I wonder if he's become much stronger than before, Dan Meng observed calmly. He sounded like he knew a lot about Ji Chang's life. He formed Ji Chang's club and he's a king for them, their officer. Many incredible cultivators follow him. Ji Chang is ambitious. He wants to create a kingdom. Junimo, she said to Lin Feng in a low voice. Lin Feng shivered. Ji Chang had formed a Ji Chang's club. He wanted to create a kingdom. People who created powerful holy clans or groups like the King of Hell Palace were incredibly strong. Ji Chang was wild, but Lin Feng also thought that it proved how strong university students were. He recruited people within the university and could create a terrifying group of influence. Maybe Lin Feng would be able to make Tiantai rise again from within the university? But Lin Feng knew it would be difficult. University students were terrifying cultivators. For example, Tiantai was extremely strong, but he had failed the previous time. Only geniuses could become university students. They were proud and yet, some people even tried to control others, like Ji Chang. He had the potential to become a champion, and with many followers, it would be even easier. Maybe I could also become a champion, thought Lin Feng. If he became a king, he'd be considered an incredible cultivator everywhere in the holy city. He would be able to create sects and clans. Ceremony of the champion, calling of the hero, said an old man of Champion University. Dazzling lights illuminated the atmosphere. Young people were all enthusiastic. It would be wonderful if they could become champions as well. Champion stone tablet, said another voice. A statue shook and turned into Ing Cheng. It was the champion's ceremony. His statue had its place there. On the statue, there was a stone plate. Something could be written on it, but at that moment it was blank. Ing Cheng, you achieved great things. Write some of your great achievements on the stone plate. Of course, if you haven't done anything in 100 years, then your stature will be destroyed, declared a voice. Ing Cheng nodded back. Ing Cheng must write the proper words on the stone tablet. All right, Champion University, watch, said the old man calmly, but he looked enthusiastic. The previous champion from the Celestial Godly University had been chosen 500 years before, and now, 500 years later, the champion was from the Celestial Godly University again. Chapter 1735. The beginning of the exam. After it finished, the crowd dispersed. Lin Feng and the others temporarily dispersed in Champion University. Tiantai wanted to join Champion University, but Junimo, she didn't intend to join a university yet. He wanted to stay at the King of Hell Palace and then check out which university would be the best for him. In the Holy City, the universities had rules. When you became a university student, you lost your social status, you were a university student and nothing else. University students had to forget about their families, their clans, their sects, etc. All that mattered at a university was strength. Besides, no matter what, at university, battles were sometimes to death, in which case clans and sects were not allowed to get involved. People had to accept the fact that their disciples could die there. That was part of the deal. At that moment, outside of Champion University, there were many young people. It seems that more than 500 people will enter the exam for Champion University. I wonder how many will become students? Thought some people in the crowd. Every 3 months, there was an exam, but as before, so many people were going to give it a try. Universities were gigantic. Each day, millions of people came from everywhere in the region of the Dark Night to go to universities. As long as a cultivator could become a university student, his future would be bright. If they didn't die, they almost had to become great emperors someday. The success rate of the exams at the 4 universities are extremely low. Each time, so many people sit the exam, but as before, received applicants are very few, to the extent that some careless people even die during the exam, said Tiantai. Lin Feng looked at him in a strangely. That dangerous? Why don't people wait until they're strong enough, then? All the applicants are strong. Most people can also protect their lives pretty well, but some can't, and each time some people die because they're too careless and de facto incompetent, explained Tantai. Besides, the level of the exam depends on your level, low-level emperor, medium-level emperor, it's the same for everybody. Who thought that they could get killed? Lin Feng nodded and smiled. What about people who haven't broken through to the Huang Qi layer? Same as low-level emperors, said Tantai. If I meet the chief examiner we met at the Palace of Provision, then I should ask about those who will take the exam with us, but we also have to be careful about them. So the people in our group are not strong? Asked Lin Feng. Of course, there are always ways to cheat. The chief examiners know a lot, they've been working here for many years. I understand, Lin Feng nodded. It was always interesting to have new people around. So weak, and you dare come and take the exam of Champion University, said someone at that moment. Chapter 1736, Explosive Battle in Front of Lin Feng. A talisman was twinkling. This time, there were many people, and therefore some people had to give up directly. Only those who had 5 talismans could go to the castle. Also, they couldn't use anything to fight. When the crowd heard the rules, they understood everything. Sometimes only 1 or 2 people could pass the exam. If nobody was suitable, then nobody was chosen. That was also a possibility. Lin Feng's heart started pounding as he walked forwards and grabbed a talisman. Arg! A lion roared in the distance. Lin Feng understood that Tantai practiced Lion King strength, and therefore the roar was for him. In universities, it's as if we are connected to something. Maybe even when we're not in their field of vision, they can still see everything we do, thought Lin Feng. He then started moving like the wind. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, terrifying waves of energies rolled towards Lin Feng. He was stupefied and saw someone arrive, or more precisely 2 fists. They contained a terrifying strength. Transformation, said Lin Feng suddenly, and his wind cosmic energies turned into sharp wings. They looked gigantic and he beat them at full speed. What a powerful physical body. He's probably hiding his cultivation level, thought that person in amazement. Since Lin Feng could resist his attacks, it meant that he was at least a low-level emperor, but from outside it seemed that he had the strength of the Zunqi layer. It was very dangerous. Give me the talisman, ordered Lin Feng. Moving like the wind, he turned into a hurricane chasing the person. His cosmic energies were terrifying, marks even appeared in the air. He was getting closer and closer. That person was shocked. How could he be so fast? Gigantic Qi River. Suddenly, the person stopped and moved towards Lin Feng at full speed, releasing terrifying amounts of Qi that made the atmosphere shake. What a terrifying attack, thought Lin Feng when he saw the gigantic waves of Qi. Lights appeared around him and he shouted, Kulpa sword, die. A Devamara Kulpa sword appeared. It seemed indestructible as it sliced into the gigantic Qi River. Talisman, go, said the person. He didn't want to fight against Lin Feng anymore, so he immediately threw the talisman at him and left. Losing a talisman wasn't a problem, he could get one somewhere else. His life was more important. Lin Feng moved like the wind in the direction of the lion voice. At that moment, Tantai was fighting, the atmosphere was shaking. Many people had come after him when they heard him roar. Tantai was moving backwards and punches bombarded him. The battle was tough. Give me the talisman, shouted someone behind Tantai. A gigantic golden hand moved towards him. Tantai suddenly turned around and shouted furiously, piss off. Tantai jumped like a lion and punched the atmosphere. Rumbling sounds spread in the air, the earth and the sky shook. His opponent was propelled backwards, and his golden armor broke apart. However, demon energies suddenly started moving. Arg! Tantai was furious. He punched the atmosphere in the direction of the demon energies, but they were too strange and still penetrated into his arm and veins. Corrosion! Tantai frowned and shook his arm. He shouted furiously, condensed cosmic energies and moved backwards. What a terrifying attack, thought a young man in black clothes. Busy. A silhouette moved like the wind. That person was surrounded. He had immortal strength in his hands. Immortal era. The terrifying energies turned into immortal strength and moved towards the enemy at full speed. The guy jumped back, but the immortal era turned into an ocean in the wind and broke the golden hand apart. Hand your talisman over. The guy with the immortal strength groaned coldly and threw the talisman at the new arrival before leaving. They all knew they couldn't afford to waste time, and they didn't need to try and kill opponents here. It wasn't necessary. Defeating an opponent took time and energy. If they did too much in a battle, then the following ones could be fatal. After stealing a talisman, the young man with the immortal strength didn't leave. He continued watching Tantai and the evil young man's battle. The evil young man glanced at the young man with the immortal strength. That guy wanted to benefit from someone's loss. He was quite strong. It was just the beginning. Some people didn't want to exhaust themselves too much. A spear appeared and pierced through the atmosphere at full speed. Then, it passed in front of Tantai and continued moving towards someone who had fled. The young man with the immortal strength didn't leave. Instead he looked at Tantai and said, "Give me your talisman." "Fuck, I wouldn't have thought the exam would be like that this time. You just helped me, so take my talisman," Tantai said, throwing it at the young man. "Leave now." Your roar drew people's attention. "You can resist against one, but what about 5 or 6? Said the young man with the immortal strength. Then he turned around and disappeared. Tantai understood what the young man meant. He started running towards a castle in front of him. The young man was right. There were too many people sitting the exam. Some of them were starting to get eliminated, so it was dangerous. They had to be cautious. He wasn't worried about Lin Feng. Many people checked the area and saw that nobody was fighting. For them, everyone was a potential opponent. If they didn't have talismans, they had to steal some. By the time Lin Feng arrived, Tantai had already left. His eyes were twinkling. Lin Feng glanced around. The roar had come from there, but surprisingly, there was blood. Lin Feng frowned. Was Tantai injured? Lin Feng moved like the wind as fast as lightning. He flew above mountains and rivers. Tantai. Chapter 1737, 9 Swords Explosive Culpa, Broken Bones. Lin Feng sensed that some of his bones were broken. If his physical body hadn't been that strong, he would have died. He could have crushed Lin Feng's arm. "Explode!" shouted that person furiously. His voice carried a terrifying strength towards Lin Feng's arm. Lin Feng had the sensation his arm was going to explode. He's being careless now. Lin Feng saw that his enemy's eyes were bloodshot. He released Devamara Rule's strength using his arm. Destructive energies invaded the atmosphere, and his opponent's arm exploded. His physical body wasn't as strong as Lin Feng's. He couldn't resist Lin Feng's Devamara Culpa double attack. He moved back at full speed, but Lin Feng had already turned into a bloodthirsty predator. How could he let his enemy off? Terrifying energies invaded the atmosphere. Earth cosmic energy rolled out in waves and pressed down on Lin Feng's opponent. "I'll give you my talisman," exclaimed his opponent. His blood was boiling. He had the feeling that he was going to die. He had to use his full strength. Die. Lin Feng accelerated. He didn't let his enemy resist. He released even more Culpa strength. Cosmic energy rose to the skies. He wanted to crush him. How cruel, thought some people in the distance when they saw that Lin Feng dared kill people. They ran away. Lin Feng took his opponent's ring and talisman, and then Tantai and him continued flying. Lin Feng had a powerful physical body. He had overwhelmed his opponent. Suddenly, Lin Feng realized that some energies were coming towards him from the left and right. Everybody was going to the castle, so people preferred focusing on the area of the castle and fighting there. On the way, Lin Feng didn't try to steal talismans, finally arriving at the foot of the castle. It was gigantic with an enormous gate. Some people tried to cross the gate, but since they didn't have talismans, the door wouldn't open. "We're too early," Tantai smiled. The area was so vast, there was more than enough space for people to fight there. Most people who had already arrived didn't face the castle. They were watching newcomers. They all looked solemn and respectful, and their chi was incredible. "You're here to... Did you get enough talismans?" Tantai asked a young man. It was the young man who had used immortal strength. "I need one more," the young man smiled back. He looked at Lin Feng and blinked. Zun Chi layer? He was stupefied. Zun cultivators were afraid to try the exam. Even though the holy city had many geniuses, few Zun cultivators dared fight against emperors, and on top of that, emperors who took the exams to go to university were already extraordinary. Therefore, with the strength of the Zun Chi layer, it would be difficult to rank well. Some people knew skills that allowed them to hide their cultivation level. Maybe that Lin Feng had done that. The blade had just been destroyed, yet Shang Yu already sensed a terrifying energy move towards him. He turned his head and saw Lin Feng. A gigantic blade appeared, the atmosphere shook and his body was bombarded. "Die!" The Kulpa sword immediately moved towards the man who was attacking Huang Fulong. The sword was terrifying and whistled through the air. The very sky was shaking. The sword immediately pierced through that person's body and destroyed his soul. 9 Kulpa swords were floating around Lin Feng as if they were dancing around their god. "You're attacking me by surprise?" protested Shang Yu, looking at Lin Feng. He looked furious. That guy had only broken through to the Zun Chi layer, and surprisingly he could use the strength of the 9 Kulpa swords. His attacks were terrifying and sly. "I'm learning from you," Lin Feng retorted coldly, and then he started running towards Shang Yu, shouting, "Huang Fulong, go and help Tantai kill." "All right." Since they were being shameless, Huang Fulong didn't hesitate. He was shocked to find Lin Feng was extremely strong. It was a pleasant surprise. Lin Feng was a Zun cultivator, but his attacks were terrifying. "Since there are tensions, let's fight for real then," Lin Feng said coldly, and released demon energies which dashed to the skies. Shang Yu released a gigantic blade. He shouted back harshly, "Let's see if your sword Kulpa can defeat my demon sword." "I'll show you," Lin Feng sneered. Suddenly, sword Kulpa strength dashed to the skies. Shang Yu also released energies which tore at the air. Another sword attack appeared and bombarded Shang Yu's blade. By the time the 3rd Kulpa sword appeared, Shang Yu's arm was shaking violently. When Lin Feng used his 4th Kulpa sword attack, Shang Yu pulled a long face. The Kulpa sword was surrounded by wind cosmic energy. Lin Feng was moving at full speed and his sword was screaming through the air. Shang Yu wasn't weak, his demon blade was terrifying, and a curtain of black lights appeared in front of him. However, when Lin Feng released all the wind cosmic energies in his Kulpa sword attacks, Shang Yu turned around and started running away at full speed. Lin Feng was calmly standing there. The crowd was shaking. That guy was very strong. He could suppress Shang Yu. A horrible shriek spread out. A Kulpa sword crashed against Shang Yu's left arm and cut it off. Shang Yu was dumbstruck. He released his spirit and a gigantic ancient demon blade appeared at his back, but he still couldn't block the 9 Kulpa sword attacks. "Enough," Yu Wenjing ordered coldly. Lin Feng turned to her and heard her say, "I told you to stop." Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes twinkled. He looked at Yu Wenjing calmly. She was used to being respected by everyone. Prince Hua knows Earth cosmic energy. His cosmic energy is already level 7, not bad. He's an advanced low-level emperor, thought the crowd, looking at Prince Hua. "You want to bring about your own destruction? Die!" shouted Prince Hua, shaking his hand. He wanted to crush Lin Feng. "Explode!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. A gigantic earth hand moved towards Prince Hua, who frowned, as Lin Feng ran towards him. "Umph!" Prince Hua groaned coldly and punched the atmosphere again. Energies moved back in Lin Feng's direction. 9 Kulpa swords. Lin Feng released Kulpa sword energies and condensed wind and empty space cosmic energies at the same time. "Go!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. His 9 Kulpa swords bombarded the atmosphere. Explosion and rumbling sounds spread out. The atmosphere shook violently as a gigantic hand moved towards Prince Hua at full speed. Prince Hua had armor, It was as solid as the land, energies kept exploding over it. The candidates were all stronger and more intelligent than most low-level emperors. They understood cosmic energies really well and knew lots of skills and spells. The 9 Kulpa swords collided with the gigantic hand. The atmosphere shook violently. However, the sword chi didn't disperse and continued moving towards Prince Hua at full speed. "Join!" shouted Prince Hua, joining his hands. Earth energies surrounded the 9 Kulpa swords. "You're a joke, you're ridiculous, you just want to bring about your own destruction," Prince Hua swore. He shouted furiously. The ground opened and the 9 Kulpa swords disappeared. Prince Hua saw Lin Feng rose up in the air, and the ground was shaking. A pitch-black energy, Devamara Kulpa strength, emerged from his body, looking like thunder, destructive and terrifying. Bzz. A strong wind started blowing. Lin Feng charged towards Prince Hua. It was like the skies were infuriated. A pitch-black demon Kulpa strength pierced through the gigantic hand he had formed. Prince Hua saw his enemy getting closer and closer. He was stupefied, feeling a terrible pressure. Lin Feng's eyes looked terrifying. "Rule!" Lin Feng released demonic willpower, which rose to the skies. Prince Hua's will felt painful. His blood was boiling. The crowd saw the willpower Kulpa strength pierce through Prince Hua's body. It looked terrifying. His lacerated body just fell down. He killed Prince Hua? Thought the crowd in astonishment. However, Lin Feng ignored those people's reactions. He just took Prince Hua's items. Yuan Jing was petrified. Not only did Lin Feng disrespect her, but he also killed her guard, and now he was stealing Prince Hua's treasures? He considered everyone inferior. What would Yuan Jing do to him? "You're audacious." Yuan Jing accused him, staring at Lin Feng. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at Yuan Jing with his pitch-black eyes. He ordered icily, "Get away from me." Boom boom. When the crowd heard Lin Feng, they were even more and more amused. How arrogant! This guy is insane. He is telling the princess to move away from him. On the other side, Tan Tai and Huang Fulong were fighting against Shang Yu. He had annoyed them, now he had to bear the responsibility. Huang Fulong and Tan Tai had explosive attacks, especially when combined together. The situation didn't look good for Shang Yu. At that moment, in Champion University, a group of people were watching in astonishment. They hadn't thought that someone would dare offend Yuan Jing. Yuan Ho watched Yuan Jing. They were both from the same clan. Yuan Ho was also in charge of the exam. Everything was in his hands. Yuan Shang Yu is in danger. Besides, he doesn't respect Princess Yuan. "Should I get involved?" asked Dan Meng. Yuan Ho glanced at him and said indifferently, "I'm in charge of the exam. I must make sure the rules are enforced, right?" Dan Meng hesitated, the person next to him, and said, "Shang Yu can't get killed, otherwise Shang Jun." Yuan Ho looked at the one who had just talked and said evenly, "We can't violate the rules of the exam, right?" That person's eyes twinkled and he responded, "Of course not." "All right, Dan Meng, send 2 people in first," said Yuan Ho to Dan Meng indifferently. Dan Meng nodded. He looked at the crowd. Even though he was one of the chief examiners, he wasn't the strongest there. Many people were much stronger than him. Some people had trump cards. They weren't supposed to get involved, but they still resorted to some methods because they didn't want to lose real geniuses. Otherwise, they'd have to explain to those groups why their disciples had failed. Chapter 1739. Tengen Qi. Dan Meng glanced at the crowd, and at 2 people in particular. "Bai Qi, you haven't been a student for a long time, you need to practice. Qiu Ming, you come with me too." Bai Qi looked startled but smiled. Then he followed after the young man on the map. After all, Lin Feng was there. "Let's go," Dan Meng ordered. Bai Qi and Qiu Ming followed. With him, there would be no problem. They all jumped off the map. In the world of the exam, everybody was staring at Lin Feng. They were all stupefied. Lin Feng had killed Prince Hua and had told Princess Yuan to get away from him. "Die!" shouted a voice furiously. Tan Tai bombarded the atmosphere in Shang Yu's direction. However, at the same time, a gigantic hand suddenly appeared and moved towards Tan Tai at full speed. Be careful, suddenly shouted Lin Feng. At the same time, pitch-black kulpa swords bombarded the atmosphere and moved towards the silhouette. Arg! Shouted Tan Tai furiously. He suddenly turned around and threw himself at the one who was attacking him by surprise. Explosion sounds spread in the air. The hand then landed on Tan Tai's forehead. He was pushed backwards and a trail appeared in front of him in the ground. Dan Meng rose up in the air and gazed into the distance. He smiled and said, "Continue." Examiners. The crowd frowned. Those people had just appeared. It meant that they could decide who they wanted to eliminate. But how could they do that in front of everybody? What is that supposed to mean? Tan Tai asked Dan Meng grimly. The exam has already started. What does your question mean? Asked Dan Meng calmly. Lin Feng glanced at Bai Qi. Bai Qi came from the vast celestial ancient city. He had become a student at Champion University. He was probably very strong. Tan Tai, continue. I'll help, said Lin Feng. He landed before them, then he looked at Dan Meng and said calmly, "Since it's part of the exam, we have to adapt." Tan Tai looked at Lin Feng and nodded. "All right, you guide, we kill people?" "Guard." Someone who was next to Yu Wenjing ran out. He had been protecting Yu Wenjing the whole time. When he heard Lin Feng, he looked furious and released a terrifying qi. "You dared humiliate Princess Yuwen, so now you'll die," snarled the man. He then released a terrifying, explosive will attack. "That guy offended Yu Wenjing, he's scary. Yi Wen is very strong. He's one of the candidates with the most potential. He understands Tengen Qi. His qi is perfect for battling," thought the crowd. In any case, because Lin Feng had offended Yu Wenjing, there would always be someone against him. Besides, Yu Wenho was in charge of the exam. Even people like Dan Meng had to obey him. They had to help Yu Wenjing and Shang Yu. Shang Yu was Shang Jun's brother. Since he was in charge of the exams, Lin Feng would pay for what he had done. He had offended Yu Wenjing. Dan Meng smiled. Dan Meng considered Huang Fulong and Tan Tai to be weak. They couldn't defeat Shang Yu. Shang Yu even smiled slightly. Even if Champion University hadn't helped him, it wouldn't have been a problem either. After all, he was incredibly strong. "Princess Yuwen, please go into the castle," Yuwen said to Yu Wenjing calmly. Yu Wenjing looked at Lin Feng icily and said to Yuwen, "Take care of him." She proceeded into the castle. Yuwen was very strong and could deal with Lin Feng. She didn't need to do everything herself. It was better to get help from Champion University. "Bai Qi, Qiuming, whom will you fight?" asked Dan Meng. "I didn't come to fight against those people. I am here as an examiner." "Sorry, I'm off," said Bai Qi calmly before he left. Suddenly, a terrifying qi appeared in the sky and rolled in waves through the air. The qi moved towards someone. He was there as an examiner. He didn't need to enter the castle. That person was stupefied. He had been attacked by surprise. "Die!" shouted Bai Qi furiously. Qi dashed to the skies as well as willpower. The crowd was dumbstruck, while some people smiled coldly. Bai Qi knew what to do. Lin Feng was surprised too. People from the vast celestial ancient city had underestimated Bai Qi. He's not listening to orders. Dan Meng felt humiliated. Bai Qi had disdained him in front of everybody. Dan Meng looked at Qiuming and smiled. Perfect 2-on-2. However, Qiuming moved towards someone like Bai Qi had. They were examiners, after all. Dan Meng pulled a long face. "What is that supposed to mean?" asked Dan Meng, clenching his fists. Tan Tai burst into laughter. "It seems that people who are students at Champion University aren't as despicable as you." Lin Feng laughed too. Talented people were obstinate and unruly, proud and arrogant. Some people were like Yu Wenjing, arrogant and proud, and some people were like Bai Qi and Qiuming, obstinate and unruly. Dan Meng couldn't control such people. Such people relied only on themselves. They were examiners and did what they thought an examiner had to do. At that moment, Dan Meng realized he couldn't control them. As expected, people who weren't members of the Ji Chang's club didn't have the same views as them. He coldly glanced at them and thought, "This time, Ji Chang's club is in charge of the exam and surprisingly you dare disobey? In the future, progressing in Champion University will become difficult for you." You will see how powerful Ji Chang's club is. Huang Fulong, you fight against Shang Yu, I'll fight against that despicable bastard. I don't give a shit whether people are examiners or not. Swore Tan Tai, throwing himself at Dan Meng like a dragon. All right, answered Huang Fulong, rising up in the air and moving towards Shang Yu at full speed. A stupid group wants to have influence, said Yi Wen in an ice-cold way, releasing energies which pressured Lin Feng. How strong? Yi Wen's Tengen Qi is powerful and oppressive. Fight! Shouted Yi Wen furiously. A terrifying pressure descended from the sky towards Lin Feng. A gigantic symbol, battle, appeared and bombarded the atmosphere in Lin Feng's direction. Lin Feng was furious and released his Devamara Culpa strength. His eyes were filled with demon willpower. Boom! A gigantic word also appeared in front of Lin Feng, demon, and Devamara Culpa strength was flowing through it at full speed. It collided against the battle word and the atmosphere shook violently. Who could resist against such attacks? Swore Yi Wen, jumping forwards. A terrifying Tengen Qi descended from the sky like a waterfall. Lin Feng bombarded the atmosphere with demon Culpa strength. Evolution. Lin Feng released his godly awareness. He modified his Devamara Culpa strength, which turned into a demon map which could destroy the land. On the demon map, there was Devamara Culpa strength. Yi Wen's attack dispersed and disappeared. What kind of strength is that? Thought the stupefied crowd. Such destructive energies. Don't. The atmosphere shook above people's heads. Lin Feng shouted, die! As his Devamara Culpa strength turned into a destructive light beam. Yi Wen's facial expression changed drastically. The Devamara Culpa energy made his own energies disappear. Battle spirit! Shouted Yi Wen furiously. He was convinced that he could defeat Lin Feng, because Lin Feng was a Zun cultivator and even if he had level 3 or 4 cosmic energies, he couldn't possibly be stronger. Die! Lin Feng raised his hands again and released even more Devamara Culpa energy, which dashed to the skies and surrounded Yi Wen. His face drew out in desperation. He didn't want to die. However, he disappeared as if he had never existed. Yi Wen had been killed. All the talismans he had taken now belonged to Lin Feng. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.